Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to call back to order the Pasco County Board of County Commissioners meeting on March 26, 2019. I would like to remind everyone to please silence all electronic devices. At this time, we will have the first resolutions.
Okay. Is anyone here to represent the Donate Life Month? Let me go ahead and read these.
Okay. Seeing no one.
Can we go ahead and read the whole thing or just type it?
Title only.
Title only.
Okay. Resolution number 19-115, a resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, declaring the month of April as Donate Life Month in Pasco County.
Move approval.
Second. Got a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion
Okay.
passed.
Is-
All right, before we go on any further, I have found a phone with credit cards, and I'm very hungry. But if anybody's missing this, we'll have it, the clerk will have it. Okay? Is that yours? Yeah. Come get it. Come here.
Thank you for saving it.
You're welcome. Okay.
Credit card statement.
All right, resolution 2.
Okay. Is anyone here for Code Enforcement Officer Appreciation Month?
I think so.
Okay. Resolution number 19-119, a resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, declaring the month of March as Code Enforcement Officer Appreciation Month in Pasco County. Whereas the Pasco County Code Enforcement Department protects the safety, health, and welfare of the citizens of Pasco County, Florida, through the enforcement of local ordinances addressing property maintenance and environmental issues, including minimum housing, zoning, environmental, and development standards. And whereas it is important for all citizens to know and understand the challenges faced by code enforcement officers, and to know our code enforcement officers play an important role safeguarding people, property, and property values. And whereas every day, assisted by the administrative team, the officers provide quality customer service to the public for the betterment of the community. And whereas often their efforts go unnoticed, even after compliance with important regulations is achieved due to their efforts and expertise. And whereas the men and women who devote their time and energy as code enforcement officers have undertaken responsibilities essential for health and safety of our fellow citizens. And whereas the Pasco County Code Enforcement Officers are dedicated professionals who further our goals of preventing neighborhood deterioration, enhancing and ensuring safety, and preserving property values by enforcing housing, zoning, and environmental code and standards. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, that said board hereby declares the month of March 2019 as Code Enforcement Officer Appreciation Month in Pasco County, done and resolved in regular session with the quorum present and voting this 26th day of March 2019.
Move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, motion passed. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
No. Step up and give us your name and address and talk to us a little bit.
Yes, sir. First of all, my name is Patrick Phillips. I'm the operational manager for code enforcement. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for the resolution, for all of our officers that are out there day in, day out, working the streets. I also want to thank our leadership for all their support, but especially the board. You've always been very supportive of our department, and we greatly appreciate it. So thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
Your fearless leader.
He is actually in training, ma'am.
Oh.
ICS training.
Chairman, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Dan files.
Let's run the,
Oh, excuse me.
let's run the video.
Yes, run the video.
This goes way deeper than just simply enforcing codes. There's a lot more to this job than just that.
Sometimes just making that little difference locally, making that difference for that neighborhood, cleaning up that one bad house, getting rid of that one drug house, you know, whatever that problem is there, brings those people in that area that feeling of comfort, that feeling of being able to live safely in their own home.
People take care of where they live, you know, everything else will follow, you know. People will come together, help each other out, and
Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
it's actually a beautiful thing.
With the combination of enforcement efforts, education, and doing community outreach details and cleanups, you can make a major impact.
They make me proud because I trust them. I trust that they're going to go out there and do the best they can.
I call it CPR. That's something I got from New York. CPR is courtesy, professionalism, and respect. And my guys practice that every single day.
I truly appreciate every one of you, and I thank you so much for all that you do.
Thank you to our code enforcement team for all that you do for Pasco County.
So I just want to say a deep, heartfelt thank you for all the work you do today and every day of the year.
Everyone can see the difference that they're making, and I'm so appreciative of everything you do.
They're out there working with these residents to help them better their situation and better our county. So I truly want to tell them thank you for everything they do from the bottom of my heart. So thank you.
Thank you for doing such a great job, code enforcement.
And on behalf of the citizens of District 2, I want to thank each and every one of you for the amazing work you do on a daily basis. Without you, Pasco County wouldn't be what it is today.
Thank you, code enforcement, for all that you do for the citizens of Pasco County. You have a hard job to do, and we certainly appreciate every one of you that take care of that job.
To everyone in code enforcement, up and down the chain, you guys are tremendous, and I just want to say thank you.
I see a huge difference in our neighborhood, and we just really appreciate you.
Thank you very much, Commissioners. On behalf of all code enforcement, we thank you.
Well, thank you.
If they want to join me down front, let's have a picture. And
You know, I've been with them a lot, and I've knocked on doors with them, and I've watched them in action, and they are so professional and so courteous, and I couldn't do it. They just do a great job. So.
They do a great job.
Commissioners, come on down front.
I'd be like, "Please, not this."
Commissioner, I believe you have done that.
I have said that. You can't have that here. Good job.
Great job.
I'm sorry Micah couldn't be here for today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So why are you guys in different colors?
This is the bad guy shirt, and this is the good guy.
We know she is the good guy, too. What's her name again?
Michelle.
All right, back to work. Get down there and holler. Thank you.
All right, thanks, sir.
Yep.
Yes.
Resolution 3.
Whitman Luter. Can you please step up to the podium, and did I pronounce the last name correctly? Okay, good. Resolution number 19-117, a resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, commending Shift Commander Whitman R. Luter for 30 years of dedicated service to Pasco County and congratulating him on his retirement. Whereas Shift Commander Whitman R. Luter has served Pasco County Fire Rescue with the highest distinction since April 10th, 1989, as a countywide leader in fire and emergency medical services. And whereas, after starting as a firefighter, Chief Luter has worked his way through the ranks of driver, engineer, lieutenant, captain, battalion chief, and finally as a shift commander with direct command over 5 battalions on A shift. And whereas Chief Luter was instrumental in the development of the Critical Incident Stress Management Team, CISM, that has assisted many employees over the years going to every incident where his experience or guidance has been needed to help others after experiencing a traumatic event. And whereas during his off-duty hours, Chief Luter has given back to the department through his participation in mentoring potential young firefighters in the Explorers program and promoting fire safety and enthusiastic presentations and tours of our fire stations to the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts of Pasco County. And whereas Chief Luter has provided local and state leadership in fire and emergency medical services, serving as a member of the Florida Fire Chiefs Association, the Florida Professional Firefighters Association, and the International Association of Firefighters Local Number 4420. And whereas Chief Luter has received many commendations from the citizens of Pasco County for his tireless efforts to assist patients and families in their time of need, including being awarded the 2014 Dalmatian Award from the Pasco Hernando Veterinary Association. And whereas with strong leadership and positive work ethic, Chief Luter has overseen his battalions with true care and diligence. And whereas on March 31st, 2019, Shift Commander Whitman R. Luter will officially retire from Pasco County Fire Rescue and be greatly missed by his coworkers, colleagues, and the citizens he served. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, that said board hereby commends Shift Commander Whitman R. Luter for 30 years of dedicated service to Pasco County and congratulates him on his retirement. Done and resolved in regular session with a quorum present and voting this 26th day of March 2019.
Move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Great.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You gonna
Chief,
stay on a little while longer, or?
If you let me. Actually, I told them I was gonna volunteer and come back and aggravate all of them, so.
Well, we appreciate your service. It's been great.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Chief, we appreciate everything you've done. You know, I'm a big fan of Pasco County Fire Rescue, and I know this board is obviously, will continue to be very supportive of Pasco Fire Rescue. But I was asking a little bit about you, and one of the things that everybody told me is that you're really full of stories. A lot of stories, I heard.
My mother's here, so.
Yeah. But no, I heard you're a good storyteller, and you always have a story for something. So do you have any stories you'd like to tell us today?
Chief Whited, you'd be here for about a week.
Yeah.
He started from an explorer with me to all the way he is today now. But this is, I've avoided this for 30 years. I have to stand in front of you all. I'd much rather have you all come out and see me in the field, like most of you have done and everything else over the years.
Yeah.
So it's taken 30 years to get me to stand up in front of you all. But
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you, and thank you from the bottom of our hearts. I know it's obviously a difficult, very, very difficult job, and it's hard on families, but at the same time, I know the citizens of Pasco appreciate everything you have done. I remember when even before I was elected as a county commissioner, I went to the, what was the training called in, I think they were over in Pinellas County. What was that called again?
Fire Ops 101.
Fire Ops 101. And about halfway through it, I go, nope, couldn't do it. That's a tough gig, you know, but again, I mean, and that's just for pretend, I guess you could say. So I couldn't imagine, 30 years of what you've done is just, protecting lives and saving lives. Myself, all the commissioners and everybody in the audience and everybody at home, I know appreciates it from the bottom of the heart. So thank you very much. And I hope you enjoy your retirement. I really do.
I guess.
You guess. You can tell more stories.
Everybody keeps asking me, what are you going to do? I said, I have no idea.
Yeah.
No idea whatsoever, but just take it easy for a little bit and then regroup. And I'm going to teach for Chief Whited out there at the training center.
Oh, good. Awesome. Well,
Be
good.
great.
Good.
It's been
Put
an
it on a
awesome ride for
bonfire or
30 years.
something.
Yeah. So I hear you're good buddies with Richard Corcoran, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up with the Corcorans.
Any stories? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah.
Just teasing. Don't say anything. He's a good friend. But
He pays me to stay out of Tallahassee.
Good. Well, I think with that, we want to, unless anybody has anything else to say, we want to come down and present this to you.
Yep.
I say congratulations to you.
Oh, yeah. Make sure you bust his balls. Keep busting his chops. Where's your family? Have them come up here.
Well, there's Laura. I was gonna ask. So that's his wife, Laura?
We can all.
Yeah. Come on. That's right. You'll find out.
I know Laura, yeah. When I heard that last name.
Yeah. Time on the shirt. Hey, Jack, how you been?
It's been awesome. It's been fast, very fast.
That did work out, wasn't it? Definitely give a hard time. Take a photo here.
Oh, yeah.
We appreciate that very much.
Come on, Laura, you want to be in the picture, not taking the picture.
It won't work.
You can't stand behind it.
You gotta stand in front.
You gotta stand up. Yeah, he started picking on
Podium.
I like him already.
Are you gonna be able to take it in front?
I think we'll be able to. try it down there.
Okay, we'll try it. We'll try it. See if we can fit the mic down.
We need to work on that.
I know, we need to make it easier. There's another extra copy.
The ringmaster.
So what's the relation here? What's the relation? High school. Oh, very good.
Right now, Mike, now get over there by between.
Let's, if we could, we're gonna bring our group in closer, and then we're gonna do something.
Hey, let Laura get by her husband.
Yes.
Go in there and get with your husband.
Levers, that's what something happens. Clicker. Other left. That's right now. Oh, yeah, sit back. We could if we could keep our fight down here in the case.
Keep that, and then here's a spare. We'll hold up here.
Here's your dog.
We're gonna go back up top. Yeah.
The group got to
He can take the picture for you if you would like.
I mean, the only thing I can do is protect that. Thank you.
All right.
No problem.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Enjoy.
All right, resolution number 4.
Hey, congrats again. I want to see you come back, and like I said, Sean White at Bus's Chops.
Is anyone here for Two Good Souls Shoes and Socks donation drive? Please step up to the podium. All right. Resolution number 19-116, a resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, congratulating Pasco County government employees, constitutional offices, and the Pasco County schools for their participation and continued success in the annual Too Good for Souls Shoes and Socks donation drive. Whereas in 2016, it was determined that employees from the Pasco County government and constitutional offices would like to participate in a charitable drive to assist the students of Pasco County schools. And whereas Pasco County school representatives indicated that many of their students had a great need for new shoes and socks. And whereas to meet this need, the employees from the Pasco County government, Pasco County constitutional offices, and Pasco County schools came together to create the Two Good Souls Shoes and Socks donation drive. And whereas since the first Shoes and Socks drive in 2016, each drive has been more successful than the last. And whereas through the diligent efforts of all involved, the drive has collected 4,511 pairs of shoes and 11,452 pairs of socks over the past 3 years and has vastly impacted the students by fulfilling crucial footwear needs. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, that said board hereby wishes to congratulate all Pasco County government employees, Pasco County tax collector, property appraiser, clerk of the court, supervisor of elections, sheriff's office, and the Pasco County schools for their participation and continued success in serving our community and improving the quality of life for students in Pasco County through the annual Two Good Souls Shoes and Socks Drive donation, done and resolved in regular session with a quorum present and voting this 26th day of March 2019.
Move for approval.
Got a motion second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passed. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Kathy Pearson, Assistant County Administrator, Public Services. Thank you for letting us share a little bit about how this Two Good Souls event came about. About 3 years ago, 2016, a group of us in the Pasco County government said, what can we do to give back to our community? We're all blessed to have some great jobs, and what can we do? And when we spoke with the school board, it was very hard for us all to believe that their #1 need was socks and shoes for children and their students. And so thus, the Two Good Soul event began in 2016. And thank you to all of the Pasco County team, our constitutional officers, and our schools. We are now going into our 4th year, which the event is going to be on October 29th at the Wendell Crinn Technical School. So we're very excited about that. And it's become a very friendly competition, not only collecting the shoes and socks, but now we are decorating boxes. And internal services, I got to give out a shout to them, has probably won the last 2 of the 3 years, if I'm correct. And they are probably one of the smallest, but they collect the most. So we're very proud of this event. We're very proud of the partnership that we have and how big it has gotten. But the most important thing is the impact it has done to the students. So before I introduce some of the school board that wants to come up, we want to give a big shout out to Erin Legg from our Public Information Office that's created this very short video on what the impact has done for these students. So.
Video day.
First things first, tell me your first and last name and spell it.
Sure, my name is Jennifer Gobley.
Tabitha Barron. My name is Katie Lamore.
My name is Deborah.
My name is Danica Cockrell. It's Leah, L-E-A-H.
So the Two Good Souls project is an organized drive that is put on by our amazing Pasco County government.
Well, it's an opportunity for our community to really donate shoes. I mean, you walk into the room and you see all the shoes that have been donated, and it's just awesome. It's an amazing feeling to see how the entire community is pulled together to bring to our students and children shoes.
So the particular school that I work at, we have over 90% of our students receiving free and reduced lunch. And so any little bit helps. A pair of shoes means so much to our students and to our families. The donation of shoes to our school really feeds our school. We have so many children that, and I say children, but they're young adults, who are very needy as far as material things. They need shoes, they need jackets. One girl in particular, just the other day, she had an interview for a job and she did not have the right type of shoe for the job. And we provided her with that shoe that she needed. She subsequently got the job. She did well in the interview, and that job is going to feed her through the rest of her high school years, and it's also going to help pay the rent at her family home.
There's one little girl, smallest feet ever, with the biggest smile. She came in, she didn't really have any shoes except for flip-flops, and it's pretty cold outside. So she came in and gave her a pair of shoes. Never met her in my life. And then after she got the shoes, she came and gave me the biggest hug ever.
You know, one of the examples I can think about is a little boy who was a kindergartner. And, you know, he had holes in his shoes. They were just miserable. And, you know, coming to school with shoes that just aren't, you're not putting your best foot forward, and you really don't have that confidence. And we got him some Spider-Man shoes. And let me tell you, I can't tell you how excited he was just to see the look on his face. You know, he gave us a card thanking us for those shoes and talked really about how much they meant to him and how good he felt about it.
Teachers are so grateful. When we came in with all the boxes and the bags and all of the hundreds and hundreds of pairs of shoes, teachers had tears in their eyes. They were just absolutely bewildered that there was so much compassion and generosity.
Well, I can just say on behalf of the entire Student Services Department and social workers across the district, and I have a team of 70, we are incredibly grateful for the Two Good Souls program each year and what it brings, and the fact that each year there's increasingly more numbers of shoes and socks just shows the generosity of the commission and everybody that participates in terms of Pasco County in general. And so we're just continue to be blessed by this partnership and this collaboration. And again, I'm truly grateful on behalf of everybody that's benefited, but everybody that's just sort of participated in the process of making sure those two good souls make it on the right feet.
Deputy Superintendent, Cynthia Armstrong and Allison Crumbly from the school board, and Danica Cockrell, Supervisor of Student Support Programs, and they have a special presentation for all of you.
You, Ray. Go ahead.
I always have to lower these things. It's a pleasure to be here today. I wanted to kind of explain this process after the shoes. We got the shoes and we dispersed them. I'm trying to teach gratitude at all levels, because it doesn't matter if it's a handout or a help up. We need to teach people on all levels, kids from preschool all the way up, to gratitude and how to be grateful and thankful and pay it forward. So this really came to be where I tasked all of the social workers at their schools when they were handing out shoes or to do a shoe recognition project. So they were with their kids, the sky was the limit in terms of what they could do as their presentations. And so today we wanted to just on behalf of Pasco County Schools, the social work team, all of student services, just present you with the thank you gratitude project that we have put together. So, bring this up. So in here is some of the thank yous, but this box is also full of
You have to come, I think, and get it recorded, you have to speak into that.
So this book is just an example. It's from Pasco High School, and they actually did pictures, and the theme was "Where will a brand new pair of shoes take me?" And so it's full of aspirations and dreams. I want to be a traveling nurse. I want to be a lawyer. I want to go in the NFL. I want to there was one who wants to be a neurosurgeon, a marine biologist, and so this just really speaks to we can give somebody something physical and it can manifest something so much greater than that. Right? So on behalf of everyone, we just wanted to say thank you and present you with all of this today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Superintendent Kurt Browning couldn't be here today, so I'm standing in for him. But I want to thank the county, Kathy Pearson, and all of these wonderful people standing behind us, smiling, for the great work that they've done for children in our schools. And I think we all take great pleasure in going out and getting a new pair of boots or a new pair of shoes. But maybe it was a role reversal, but when my daughter was growing up, I always took her school shopping. And you know, when you take kids shopping, it brings pure joy to a little kid to get a brand new pair of shoes, especially if they're Spider-Man shoes or a special pair of basketball shoes. And so these shoes that people are collecting for these kids bring joy to their lives, and you can see it in their faces when they get these shoes. And we thank everyone that has participated in this project. Allison.
Okay. Well, I'll just add real quickly that I heard a really great saying the other day. And first of all, it's thanks to all of these folks that you should never look down at others unless you're reaching down to help them up. And the shoe piece is incredible. I volunteer on Thursdays at Gulf Middle School, and they have a treasure chest there for the kids that need anything, clothing, shoes, supplies, and every Thursday about 5 or 6 pair of shoes go out the door because they really, really, really need these shoes. I know you know how important this is, but I can't emphasize it enough. They really use these shoes, and we can't thank you enough.
Anybody else?
Okay.
Kathy, you had this up in Citrus County, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we brought it down here, and Lori Crinkley, come forward. So Lori, I have to give a big shout out for Lori. She's in our public services. She really organizes this for us. And all the wonderful team leaders here. You can see some of the boxes.
Yeah,
that
I
are
took some
decorated.
pictures. I have 3 pictures. Tell them what these are.
So, well, the big shoe there was Gary Joyner's, I believe,
Yeah,
right?
big red one.
Here. So that big red sneaker, that was one of the boxes, and the
See if
big
it's on
white
over here.
sneaker, I'm not sure where that came from, if anybody.
The big white
remembers
one
that.
is the tax collector's
Tax
office.
collector's office, and then, of course, the school bus and all of that, so.
But the winning one,
Was Parks and Recreation.
yeah, it's in the third
So
picture,
do we
I
have a
think.
picture of that one? Yes.
Yes.
An actual playground, like,
Look at that.
and all that, so the team really does a great job, and it would not be possible without every one of these team leaders here that worked tirelessly for months to get this thing going. So from the bottom of my heart, I'm very touched by this, and it means a big deal to these kids. I was up in Connecticut about a month ago and went to my twin granddaughter's school, and I got to spend Valentine's Day with them, and at the end, these kids were all putting on jackets, and I said to my daughter, these jackets are great, these are beautiful. Well, they have a local Elks Club there that donates a new winter jacket for every kid in that elementary school, and Lori Crinkly goes, do not get that idea, that is not happening. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
We don't need
This
them
is
down
great.
here.
Somehow get a big picture, I don't know.
All right.
We want to go down and get a picture with everybody, and thank you all again.
How we gonna do this picture?
We'll just come down and present these, and we can come up here, I guess, or?
Yeah, that's probably good.
Yeah, that's, I'm full out.
Y'all come on in.
You know, I bring my shoes there, but I don't put them in any, I didn't know to put them in certain piles because the county commissioners, we don't have a pile. So I don't know who my shoes got credited to. Ah, congratulations.
Kathy, you know who?
Desiree,
Wow,
Desiree got a very important role right now. I don't think I'm still waiting for
I don't know about nobody knows.
Hey, Dan. The best thing about having all these people in constitutional offices in the school board coming in today together, they didn't ask us for any money. Yeah. That's where you're current. Yeah.
I kind of did in a
Yeah.
way.
Oh, yeah.
Micah.
Now you're gonna get this picture. Better.
Thank you.
All right. Great job, man. Yep.
The box has all the books and the thank you notes.
That's 29er?
Still have those.
I'm 27. They don't do 29ers for girls.
She was saying, no, the keeps on giving, because you open it, you can like, there's all this stuff.
Right.
I give that, I was really going to show it to Paula and decide what to do with it.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I think it's clear that we need to get our own bin out front, both sides of the county, and let's do some havoc this year.
I didn't hear.
See if we can win.
What we want to
We
do?
want to try to be the winning team.
Yeah, we
the
need to be the
shoes.
winning
We need to
team.
be the winning team.
It's
Good.
hard for us.
Both
because
sides of the
there's
county.
5 of us.
But we each
Yeah.
give.
Hey, how many people come in for meetings with us?
All right, resolution number 5.
Is Deborah Velsky here? Please come up to the podium. Deborah Velsky. Did I pronounce that correctly? Good. Resolution number 19-118, a resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, recognizing Deborah Velsky, Programmer Analyst 1 of the Information Technology Department, for her 27 years of exceptional service to Pasco County. Whereas Deborah Velsky has dedicated 27 years of her valuable time to Pasco County. She began her career as a clerk typist for Park and Recreation February 3rd, 1992, and has transitioned through her other positions, including senior clerk for zoning and code compliance, legal secretary for the county attorney, and senior secretary for communications before finding her home in the Information Technology Department Internal Services Branch. And whereas during her time spent with Information Technology as a Program Analyst 1, she has been involved in multiple website upgrades benefiting both citizens who rely on the website for local information and county workers who use the website as a helpful tool in a day-to-day basis. And whereas she received her Master's CIW Designer Certification, aka Webmaster, on May 4th, 2006, giving her the ability to develop professional web pages. And whereas Deborah's outstanding work ethic, dedication, and dependability in the performance of her job duties made her a valuable asset to the Information Technology Department. And whereas her proficiency and knowledge in the performance of web upgrades has a positive impact on the success of 3 significant website changes: new web portal, which provided the most efficient use for citizens, the Civic Plus web upgrade by using the Civic Plus Foundation, and the current website redesign, which includes the external citizen page and the internal Team Pasco page for Pasco County employees. For this project, she received a Constellation Award. And whereas during her 27 years of service, Deborah diligently and conscientiously served the workers of Pasco County and customers of the Information Technology Department in her position, ensuring integrity while providing outstanding service and assistance to coworkers and the citizens of Pasco County, especially during times of need. And whereas on March 1st, 2019, Deborah retired from the Information Technology Department, she will be greatly missed by both the citizens she served and her coworkers who wish her well in her retirement. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, that said board hereby expresses its deepest appreciation to Deborah Velsky for her more than 27 years of exceptional service to the citizens of Pasco County, done and resolved in regular session with a quorum present and voting this 26th day of March 2019.
Move approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion passed. Thank you.
Deborah, 27 years in the IT field. That is amazing that you stayed with Pasco County so long. I remember I'm seeing
22.
Heather Grimes in the back, and thinking when I first got here how we wanted to get more help into the IT program. And what you've done through the years has been amazing. To see us at such a high level with the website and all, I just want to thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir.
Would you like to say a few words before we come down?
I think the best
You
thing,
can.
I think the best thing I ever did for myself was come to work for Pasco County. I
That's
think
very
it's
nice.
been a great opportunity, and I've met a lot of wonderful people, and I've really enjoyed working for Pasco County. And I thank you for that opportunity.
Thank you.
We thank you for your
Thank
service
you.
here. So,
You want down for a
thank
picture?
How we doing? How are you?
I think 27 years ago, that's when Gallagher wouldn't let people have laptops.
Possibly.
I'm surprised we had an IT department.
Whole team, right?
The whole team's back there.
Come on, team, come on up.
There's tons of them.
And only intranet, no internet.
See everybody?
Thanks, everybody. We actually got some more members coming.
Do a chip back. Go up above.
Okay, we'll go back up. So you guys
Right now, we're giving money to the Nigerian friends. Just make it easier. Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, thanks.
Dave.
Hang on.
The husband.
Oh, well.
Hey.
Heather, come on up.
Thank you.
What's Matt doing back there? Get Matt up here, come on.
We already have one person from the clerk's office. We can get two.
Okay, thank you.
Congratulations.
Go back to protect our system.
We're gonna use it too.
Congratulations.
I'm going to.
Seven total, two more.
Thank you, Pat. Sir, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, resolution number 6.
Is Coralyn Howell present, if you could? Coralyn?
Can't leave. Who's going to entertain us at the mic?
Well, Essen already said that I wasn't here, so you can put out.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Resolution 19-120, resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, commending Coralyn Howell for 29 years of dedicated service to Pasco County and congratulating her on her retirement. Whereas in 1984, Coralyn Howell, formerly known as Coralyn Burns, began a position as a clerk with misdemeanor probation shortly before the unit was dissolved. Bipin Parikh, sorry if I got that wrong, saw Coralyn's potential and kept her employed through the division changes. And whereas on April 10th, 1995, after 6 years of employment outside of Pasco County, Coralyn began her career serving the citizens of Pasco County as a clerk typist for the real estate division. And whereas over the years, she worked her way through different positions, including Legal Secretary 1 for the County Attorney, Development Review Technician 2 in Development Review, and a Planner 1 in Growth Management. And whereas Coralyn's outstanding customer service has been invaluable throughout her career with Pasco County. She has received compliments and recognitions from citizens in every position she has held. And whereas on May 19th, 2013, Coralyn graduated with honors with her Bachelor's of Arts from Eckerd College, and she went on to pursue her master's degree in public administration from Columbia Southern University. And whereas on October 14th, 2013, she took a Planner 2 position in Planning and Development, Current Planning, and advanced to Senior Planner by January 2017. And whereas in July of 2016, Coralyn reconnected with her high school sweetheart and became Mrs. Howell. And whereas Miss Coralyn, who is lovely known as the Oracle by her colleagues, possesses historical knowledge of development throughout Pasco County over almost 3 decades that will be sorely missed in her absence. And whereas over 29 years of dedicated service, Coralyn will retire on March 29th, 2019 from the Pasco County Planning and Development Department. She can now focus all of her energy on her husband, her horses, and her guest at her lovely bed and breakfast. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, that said board hereby commends Coralyn Howell for 29 years of dedicated service to Pasco County, its citizens, and congratulates her on her retirement and wishes her well in future endeavors. Done and resolved in regular session with a quorum present and voting this 26th day of March 2019.
Move approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Coralyn, congratulations. 29 years is unbelievable, and I tell you, you have been just such an outstanding employee every step of the way. Never afraid to tell anybody what you're thinking.
I second that.
And when she tell you what you're thinking, you may agree or may not, but at least she did it with a smile, and the passion was always there, but it always kept for great discussion every step of the way. But I always respected everything you had to say and took everything with it, and I'm telling you, I think you've done a fantastic job for the county, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Coralyn, for everything you've done. Actually, I hope you trained someone under you that kept a lot of that knowledge you have, so very important to us, so very good.
You're
'84, a lot has changed, you know.
I
Back in
know.
Back in '84, it used to be when we were trying to get developers and engineers here, they would go, "Where's Pasco?" Now, those days are gone. And in my opinion, those are the better days because, 50,000 people, 500,000 people, yeah, there's,
Something's
That's not
changed.
my kind of town. That's not my kind of town. So, like they say, when you're training a horse, you have to leave on a good note. I guess this is my good note. But,
Hey, we'll accept that, that's fine.
it's been fun. I helped a lot of people. A lot of people know me. As you know, I've entertained you many a time with my shenanigans. So I think it's time to move on, though. But thank you very much.
Portland, where's your bed and breakfast?
It's in upstate New York. We
Oh,
bought,
Oh,
my husband and I bought an 1804 farmhouse on 47 acres.
Oh, how nice.
very nice.
Change it into a bed and breakfast and.
Oh, how fun.
It's
seeing
cold
if,
up there.
Comply with zoning.
It's only cold in there. So, let me tell you. We went up there to get a permit for a barn, okay, for the horses. So, first of all, we go to the town clerk. Okay, he's a code enforcement officer / building inspector.
I see anything wrong with that.
But he doesn't inspect anything. You hire a subcontractor to come in and he signs a piece of paper and then you take it to him and then he goes, yeah, it looks good. Okay. So this barn, and it's it's a pretty big barn, 2-story.
Wow.
Okay. The building permit was $10. $10 for a 2-story barn.
Wow.
So they do have permits, but they're only available on every Tuesday.
But how much was the subcontractor you had to hire?
I'm sorry?
Did you pay for the subcontractor?
No, because I have friends up there that are.
That's an ag use here. You don't have to get a permit, so.
So
Works the same.
I thought I'd go up there and give them a little bit of my knowledge to say, you know why New York is running dry? It's because you need mobility fees, parks and rec fees, library fees. I'll make them all kinds of money.
Take over city manager, right?
Yeah, the town clerk.
Yeah, there you go.
Slash.
Slash everything else. It just.
Probably could be the janitor.
Hey, it's one-stop permitting, just like we wanted, right?
Yeah,
There you go.
same thing.
Well, we're gonna miss you for sure, Cory.
How many
Come down
people
for
in
a
the town?
picture.
Like 30?
Go for a picture, yeah.
Yep.
5, maybe 35. Yeah. Hey, but it's on the map because they do have a Dollar General.
All right. That's cool.
Yeah, but that's their mall.
We're one of the only ones left,
I know.
We'll
We
miss you.
are it.
We'll miss you.
I'll miss you guys too. I really will.
Enjoy your retirement.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So you can bring your horses up there.
Yeah.
Send
All
us
4 of
pictures.
them.
We
I
have 3
will.
more days.
The before and afters, too.
What can we dream up for to do next week?
I got plenty. I got plenty to do.
Let's have that desk cleared.
I'm trying.
And if we could, let's have Portland's team come up and do the same thing we just did.
I'll miss you, Jeff. One of my favorite people. Right next to David. David's first, okay?
Wait a minute, who are you talking to here?
Oh.
Where are we going? Here? Up behind? Okay.
Now she's jumping. Strictly jumping. My youngest is doing it.
Anyone else should be able to?
Oh, really? That's great. Yeah. Should have been using it earlier.
Mr. Starkey, can I get you just a little bit? Thank you.
Oh, wait a minute. on, Denise. Hang on, wait a minute. Is there anybody else that would like to come up here? Come up now, please. We'd love to have you up here.
Rest of the audience,
Anybody?
come on in.
Anybody that wants to recognize Coraline, come on. Okay, let's go.
Thank you.
But y'all come up to the B&B, okay? Yeah. I have a horse ready for only in the winter.
Send us a brochure, Coraline.
What's
Send
that?
us a brochure, so.
I will.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
All right, now it's time for the last but not least, resolution number 7.
Is Cindy Zatorsky please step up to the podium? Resolution number 19-121, a resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, commending Cindy Zatorsky for over 20 years of dedicated service to Pasco County and congratulating her on her retirement. Whereas on September 14, 1998, Cindy Zatorsky began her career serving the citizens of Pasco County as a Secretary for Zoning, advancing through the division to Development Review Technician 2 in 1999. Whereas over the years, Cindy has held many positions such as Customer Service Specialist 2, Senior Project Clerk, and Development Review Technician 1 for utilities. And whereas during her time with utilities, she created the electronic project file folders for utilities projects that is still used by utilities to this day. And whereas on March 3, 2013, Cindy joined the Planning and Development Department, where she went from a Development Review Technician 2 to her current position, Senior Development Review Technician. And whereas Cindy has always been a pleasure for both citizens and her peers to interact with. She's known for being helpful, knowledgeable, and always maintaining the utmost amount of professionalism. And whereas Cindy modeled her dedication to a team-centric culture after that of her work moms Carol Murphy and Eileen Reiser, who's passing that same philosophy down to her peers. And whereas after 20 and a half years of dedicated service, Cindy will retire on March 29, 2019 from Pasco County Planning and Development Department. Now Cindy's only concern will be with her husband and their shared happiness. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, that said board hereby commends Cindy Zatorsky for over 20 years of dedicated service to Pasco County and its citizens and wishes her a full and enjoyable retirement. Done and resolved in regular session with the quorum present and voting this 26th day of March 2019.
Move approval?
Second. Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
So Cindy, 20 years flies by quick, huh?
Yes, sir.
We greatly appreciate your service to the county. We've moved from utilities to development review is awesome stuff. So, would you like to say a few words?
It's been an adventure, only a lot to learn, and I will miss all my work family, but it's time for my husband and I to enjoy our cabin in the mountains.
All right, God bless you.
Oh,
Be
nice.
great.
All right, down for a picture?
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Oh, I know exactly where that is. I love that area. That's Murphy. Very nice. That's where Richard Beckett's cabin is.
That'd be great.
Do another one with the team, back up.
Thank you. Hey, oh, we're going back up? Okay.
Especially 24 years.
Finally to the machine now.
Yeah.
Yeah, see mine done.
Yeah. That'll work.
Hey, that fast? I know, right? Can we squeeze in here?
All right. Good job.
Congratulations and good luck. Thank you, thank you.
Let's see, we got to do the public hearings. Now we will proceed with public hearings agenda, starting with P1.
Chairman, before we go to P1, I've got an item to read into the record.
Okay.
Project Arthur was originally published for an adoption hearing for today. However, project timelines were adjusted in January, which scheduled the adoption for February 5th of 2019. At that hearing, Project Arthur was continued to the March 12th BCC meeting. Project Arthur was subsequently approved for adoption on March 12th. We have proof of publication for February 5th and proof of the continuance from February 5th to March 12th. Since the item has already been approved, there's no need to hear the item today.
So that's just notification of the public.
The issue was that there was an ad run for it for you to take action on it today, but since you've previously taken action, there's nothing more for you to do.
Okay, thank you. Now we move to P1. Ordinances.
Item P1 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on March 1st, March 8th, March 15th, and March 22nd, 2019.
Good afternoon, Denise Hernandez, Planning and Development. Item P1 is PDD 19-0347. It's an ordinance establishing the Copper Spring Community Development District pursuant to Chapter 190 Florida statutes, providing for authority and power of the district, providing for powers and duties of the district, providing for the Board of Supervisors of the district, providing for the district budget, providing for functions of the district, providing for miscellaneous provisions, providing for an effective date. Today, the recommendation is that you adopt the ordinance establishing the Copper Spring Community Development District by roll call vote.
Okay, is there anyone here to speak to this item?
Seeing no one, move approval.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second. Roll call vote on.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Wells.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 1, Chairman Oakley.
Aye. Motion passed. Now we move to P2.
P2 was published in the Tampa Bay Times, February 8th, 2019.
On item P2, PDD 19-0663, this is the adoption hearing on this item. I'm going to read the item title. An ordinance by the Pasco County Board of County Commissioners amending the Pasco County Land Development Code, Section 1001.4, Visibility, 1001.5, Navigability and Protection of Water Courses, Appendix A definitions, and other sections as necessary for internal consistency, providing for applicability, repealer, providing for severability, inclusion into the Land Development Code, and an effective date. Today, we ask that you adopt this item by roll call vote.
Okay, I believe we have one person signed up to speak to this item.
There's 4.
Hmm?
It looks like there's 4. They're all docs.
That's all the same person?
No.
Oh, the names are over there. I'll go ahead and read the
Okay.
names.
First person signed up to speak on this is Joseph Steffens. Please step to the podium.
Mr. Chairman? or
Yes.
Mr. Steinson, maybe to step in. I just want to make sure, so we have P2 and we have P3. I just want to make sure there's no confusion on what between P2 and P3 for some of the
Okay.
people that want to speak.
So the persons that list.
Well, I know I'm asking I'm sorry, no.
Okay, so P2 is the amendment to the Land Development Code. P3 is the amendment to the Code of Ordinances. P3 is the one that is designed to deal with the seawall maintenance issue. P2 is the one that's designed to deal with covers over docks and The other issue was the location of the docks in the waterway.
Great, thank you. I just wanted for the record, because I know some people may have been a little confused about which one was what, so.
Right. Yeah, I'm Joseph Steffens. I live in Land O'Lakes. I've been before the board a few times
Address,
already.
please.
I'm just here to,
Address?
4045 Cox Drive, Land O'Lakes, Florida.
All right, thank you.
And just here to reiterate what I've said in the past about the effort to remove the ordinance that prohibits roofs on freshwater private lakes, that we'd be able to build boathouses and stuff in that area again. And that's what I'm here for, and I thank you for your help.
All right, thank you for your comments.
All right.
Next.
Skip Geiger, is that correct?
Commissioners, my name is Skip Geiger. I'm the Director of Public Relations for Gulf Harbor Civic Association, and I live at 5017 Dory Drive in Gulf Harbors. Commissioners, if you may know, Gulf Harbors and the associated communities around it were developed in the 60s, and building continues today on the few remaining property lots available. Gulf Harbors Florimar was the first community to be built, followed by Gulf Harbors Woodlands, and finally Gulf Harbors Sea Forest. These communities were designed to provide deep water at Gulf access to the maximum number of residents through a series of canals. Although the canals were relatively narrow, the developers provided wonderful water views by laying out relatively straight canals and leaving backyards deep and open. All of these communities are protected by some form of deed restrictions. Gulf Harbors Florimar is governed by a non-mandatory HOA or civic association, while the Woodlands and Sea Forest are governed by HOAs. Due to the building of other smaller communities between the Woodlands and Sea Forest and around the original Sea Forest development, Sea Forest HOA is now called Gulf Landings and includes many of those smaller communities that have since been built around them. In the early 2000s, with the rising costs of court and legal fees, the harbor communities came before the Board of County Commissioners and requested that an ordinance be drafted and passed that would be the same and therefore support our prohibition on covered docks, covered boat lifts, and other vertical structures on the water. Commissioner Hildebrand championed that effort, and Section 1001 was passed. When an ordinance becomes outdated or is irrelevant to current issues, it should be changed. However, in this case, Section 1001 is more important and more relevant to these communities than ever before. And although it is time to improve the language as written in the new ordinance, the ordinance was passed to ensure that waterfront property owner views would be maintained on the narrow channels as built and therefore maintain an increased property value. This has clearly occurred with the significant rise of home prices and the increased tax revenues which this county has reaped. This ordinance was originally passed to ensure that no hazards to navigation are constructed along the canals that would interfere with the boater's view of the canals and docks and allow a mix of boats of all sizes from kayaks to mega yachts to operate and remain clear of each other. We have an admirable safety record in our community, even with the increasing size of vessels.
Thank you for your comments. Time's up.
And you can, there's 2 hearings, so you can speak
No.
more?
Nope.
This is the second hearing.
This is it.
Okay. He's speaking for an association.
Okay.
Well, Commissioners, I don't have a problem with the current ordinance as it's written. What we do have a problem with is slipping in any sort of covered docks in that area again. It's a safety hazard and an issue not only for views, but for safety of residents, and we do not want it.
Okay. We understand. Thank you.
Nicholas Maudry.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
My name is Nicholas Mudry. I live at 5415 Joe Beth Drive, Newport Richey, Florida, within the Gulf Landings community. Gulf Landings is a waterfront community with over 578 units. And as a prior board member for over 6 years, we have received many requests to have covered docks. Most of the people have a substantial investment that is sitting behind on their waterfront property. And they would like to have a dock to protect their vessels. Sometimes these vessels are in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. They don't mind paying the tax on them. They don't mind paying the property, but a cover dock would also increase the property values. Many waterfront communities in Florida do have a covered docks and allows for the covered docks. So I hope that you pass this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Got anybody else?
One last person signed up, Michael Camera.
I'm an 8-mile camera, live at 5520 West Shore Drive.
Okay.
I think we should be allowed to put the roofs up. We were putting them up in the past and we never had anyone complain about their view. The only thing they wanted to know was when they can get theirs. We were putting one up in Gulf Harbors on Topsail and we were stopped back in 2010. They changed the law and took my permit back. He sued, he won, he has a roof. I don't see why anybody else can't have them. They want them. That's what I got to say.
All right, thank you, Congress.
That's it.
Okay. Is anyone else, is anybody that has not signed up would like to speak? Come forward.
How you doing?
Yes,
My
sir.
name is Bill Thomas, 9823 San Mateo Way, Port Richey.
Okay.
I'm here for the Murphy, the folks are Murphys, and they live in Hudson Beach. And they have a dock. They have a real nice boat that they've actually replaced the top of the boat 2 different times because the birds come over and they sit on it. Now, if you have a roof over that, I don't see that that's going to happen. These people have a lot of money that's invested in these boats, and I just think it's a good thing to have a roof over it.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for your comments. Anyone else? Yes, sir, come forward. State your name and address for the clerk.
Joseph Pasco, 12801 Second Island, Leaden Beach. I am in favor for roofs. Our canals are approximately 145 feet wide. Right now, between Leisure Beach and Signal Cove, there are probably 50, 60, maybe 80 roofs that have already been put up and have stood the test of time. I think it's imperative that these roofs be placed on top of the investments that people have made. I can tell you for a fact, in Leisure Beach, when they were first made, they were sold for $15,000. They now sell for over $250,000 to almost $300,000. This definitely would be a benefit, not only to the community, but to the tax base and to the protection of the docks and the boats that are in the areas. I've seen quite a few stand the test of time. I am for it. I'm sure that with the ones that have been there, there is some kind of resolution that can be made, whether it be temporary or permanent. I'm not speaking about boathouses, I'm speaking about covers. If anyone is in boating, they realize how much boating actually costs in the investment. But boating is actually an $8 billion industry in this state. It is a recreational thing, it is also commercial. Our canals are used on a daily basis. I've lived there for many years. I have friends and family in Gulf Harbors as well as in Leisure Beach and Signal Cove. I am in favor for putting roofs up. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else to speak?
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Jeremy Gamble. I live at 7309 Islander Lane in Sea Pines. I also own Coastline boat lift covers. Currently, since the beginning of the year, we've sold over $100,000 worth of boat lift covers in Pasco County. I've got 78 people who want to order boat lift covers right now. There's a massive demand. People all over Pasco County on the waterfront, fresh and salt water, want to be able to protect their investments. as new people move into the neighborhood or into the waterfront communities, both fresh and salt, they're investing in their dream of living on the water. Part of that is owning a vessel. The majority of vessels nowadays start at $50,000 to $80,000, even so much higher. We offer a solution that doesn't block the neighbor's views. It has a removable top. It does not impede the boat lift whatsoever. It's a clamp-on design. So there are solutions available to people who do want to protect their investment without having the hazards of pieces flying in a hurricane and or blocking homeowners' views. So I just want the commissioners to take that into account, that there are ways to solve this problem if looked at properly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Anyone else in the audience would like to speak to this item? Seeing none?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So, just as a follow-up, I've been in office since, 2014 now, and that's pretty close to how much time I've been working with some people in the Land Lakes community and Lutz community on allowing them to obviously put roofs on their docks in the lakes. I mean, I have not had one person on a lake in that area that says they're against it. So I would obviously like to see this move forward as is, so we can move on. I know there's some additional discussions people want to have in some different areas, but we need to pass this as is today, so we can move on, and those people that I've been working with for almost 4 years now can actually put a roof on the dock. So again, it doesn't impede the views, doesn't impede the neighbors' views at all. These lots are typically, are very wide and very deep, and again, I've had no objection at all from any residents in that area.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the board, or what's the pleasure of the board?
I make a motion to approve.
Okay.
As it is. Second.
I got a motion and a second. All those, is this roll call vote?
It is a roll
You got a
call.
discussion?
Yes. As I said when we looked at this ordinance, the problem was going to be, let's say, the Hudson area and other communities other than Gulf Harbors. And I understand Gulf Harbors has been a fortune litigating. I don't want to open up a can of worms for that to happen at this point. But I do want to say that when we adopted this years ago, we tried to find a way to make it where anybody outside of Gulf Harbors somehow to try to make that happen. And we haven't done that yet. Mr. County Attorney, can you just talk a little bit to that? Do you see this any way we're going to make this happen, or are we just going to make, like a businessman who just invested and has a demand for it, not be able to satisfy his clients?
This is a policy decision, but if you change the ordinance to allow it in more than the area that we have been able to delineate for you, you open it up for the entire unincorporated area. I don't see a way that you can draw a distinction in the Gulf regime between neighborhood and neighborhood. It's either you're going to allow those cover over structures. Now, they don't have to be wooden construction. They can be canopy, but if you're going to allow it, you're going to have to allow it along the entire Gulf front.
What if, like, I guess Gulf Harbors has a deed restriction where they can't do it? And let's say everywhere else doesn't have that deed restriction. Can't we separate it that way?
No. No, you can't. Your land development regulation needs to treat everybody the same. If they have a deed restriction, they can enforce their deed restriction. They don't have to allow it. That's something that they have done. But I can't. You can't carve out neighborhoods that are similar in fashion.
So, Mr. Chairman, can I make a suggestion? Commissioner Mariano, you had a gentleman that talked about the possibility of showing a removable one or something. That's a discussion you can have and maybe look at that.
That's the one I brought up the last meeting and the meeting before.
Well, I mean, but have an intense discussion with, the county attorneys and the attorneys and see if that's a possibility.
So I live in,
Mr. Chairman, with all due respect to the commissioner, I need a policy decision. That's part of the problem is that as we've brought this forward, we haven't had a majority of the board support to look at those issues. So sending them to the county attorney's office or to development services, if you want to have a workshop on the issue, that's fine, but I need a policy decision to move forward.
Well, right now, we're passing this as written.
well, we have a first and a second, and we're in discussion. And may I have the
Yes.
mic? So I live in Gulf Harbors. I have probably one of the most expensive boats on the coast, and we don't want a roof. My neighbors don't want a roof. The majority of folks there don't want a roof. We don't want our views to be impeded. And you can put a cover on your boat. The Ackleys have a beautiful boat, and they put a cover on it. I have some photos that I've sent to the county administrator. We take our boat down to the Keys. I do a lot of boating on the east coast of Florida, and those are very, very expensive boats, and there are no roofs. It is very rare to find a community. I'm not sure which one this is, if it's East Coast or West Coast, but I took pictures of Fort Lauderdale. I took pictures of Clearwater. I took pictures of Naples. I took pictures of, okay, here's Fort Lauderdale, and then I think the next one zooms in closer. Not that one, going the wrong way. There is nobody, very, very few allow on the coast roofs over the boats for safety and for view impediment. So I would like to pass this as it is today and help the people on the lakes where it's a whole different situation.
Mr. Wells?
And I'm fine with passing it the way it is today, but I just want to, if I understand and reviewing this, and I know we've been talking about it for a couple of years, the guidelines are up to 15 foot over medium water level structure. So even if somebody was to put a roof, it still can't exceed 15 feet. And we've got boats now that are up on a lift that have a tower on them or have a T-top that are above the 15 feet. I'm okay with roofs. I think I agree with a lot of the folks. I agree with Commissioner Mariano. I hear folks all over the coast that want them. I've had, I don't know, a dozen people contact me in the last 6 months about it. I understand Gulf Harbors, but I mean, I also, again, it's structure height, temporary cover, maybe that, is that considered a structure? Because a T-top's not or a tower's not, because they're going to be over the 15 feet. But I would be fine passing this today, but I definitely, as a board, I think that I'm in favor of roofs and figuring out something. I know we've kicked this can for a while, and we need to just address it one way or the other. And if the board, if there's not three of us that feel that way, then I think that's probably good enough, I guess, but I would like to have the conversation. It doesn't need to be today, but I agree we need to move forward with this, but we need to have the conversation with the coastline and allowing covers, which I'm in favor of.
I agree with that.
Mr. Chairman, so let me ask the question. The 15-foot height level, if there's a dock that's there and it's not 15 feet higher than, does it mean low, or what's the dimension?
The way it's written is that there can't be any solid visual type obstructions that are higher than 15 feet or that are within 15 feet of the mean high water line, except on inland lakes.
So as long as under that 15 feet, you could have a roof over a structure?
You couldn't, the way this is written, except on inland lakes.
Yeah, right now, no. The way this
Right.
ordinance is written, sorry.
Right.
Yes.
That's the way it's written.
Okay, call the motion.
All right, I've got a motion and a second. Although it's roll call vote, so.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Wells.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 1, Chairman Oakley.
Aye. Passed unanimously.
Mr. Chair, I guess the question I have is, I heard two board members interested in us looking at the coastline. I didn't hear from the rest of the board, if now that we're done with this, do you want us to look at the rest, go back and look at the coastline?
I think we should address that, yes.
Thank you.
I just,
Well, that's not a
trying to make
motion.
sure we got direction on that. I
Then
heard two,
respectfully, I think you need to set a workshop on it.
Yeah,
Because
that's-
there is nothing the county attorney's office can do at this point without you deciding how we want to go. I mean, I can bring language about soft tops, I can bring language about hardened structures, but without you all agreeing on how to move forward, I'm at a loss.
I agree. I think a workshop will bring that out and give us direction. I think that's what we need.
We can do that.
And I truly feel, sorry, Chairman, I feel the verbiage we're using within the lakes works. But if we need to do a workshop, maybe we can do it next week and spend 20 minutes on it. It's not going to take that much time,
Wouldn't take long.
my opinion. But I think the verbiage is fine the way it is, and we just need to apply it elsewhere. But I'm pushing this through because we've been kicking the can a while, but
Yeah.
just my opinion.
No, and I want to say to the county attorney, I know we struggled with this years ago, we're still struggling with it now, but again, I'm just trying to get at that level. And I appreciate the board's conversation, and I think it's important we let the people in the lakes protect themselves as well and not having to wait. And I think the goodwill of the board is to go forward to try to come to a solution, so, thank you.
I don't think we can be ready for Tuesday.
Just make it happen.
Well, we already
Easy to
have,
say.
we have signs on the workshop and, solid waste master plan on the workshop, and we only have 2 hours in the morning. The afternoon is East Side City's joint workshop. So I think those two topics themselves could end up eating up most of the morning. So I think we'll work on something and bring it back at the, workshop schedule, which is in May, I think is the next one.
Yeah. Okay. B3?
Publication was in the Tampa Bay Times, March 14th, March 16th, and March 20th, 2019.
Item P3 is PDD 190841, and this is a companion item. This is the public hearing on this item because this is an amendment to the Pasco County Code of Ordinances. So I'm going to read it by title and go over the salient points of the ordinance amendments. It's an ordinance by the Pasco County Board of County Commissioners amending the Pasco County Code of Ordinances, Chapter 18, Buildings and Building Regulations, Article 3, Building Permits, Section 18-38, Permit Required, Chapter 114, Waterways, Article 2, Boating and Water Safety, Section 114-26, Definitions, Section 114-39, Junked, Wrecked, Abandoned, or Derelict Property, Section 114-52, Cleanliness of Docks, renaming said section to Maintenance of Docks and Seawalls, and other sections as necessary for internal consistency, providing for applicability, repealer, for providing for severability, inclusion into the code, and an effective date. So this
Sorry,
amendment.
Denise, real quick, Commissioners, I'm on the canvassing board, so I've got to get on a 3 o'clock conference call. They wanted me to drive to Dade City, but we convinced them, so Christie and I have to get on that, so if I could be excused for.
You may be excused, Commissioner.
Thank you, Chair.
This is a separate amendment that we told you that we're bringing forward to the, that's kind of like a companion amendment to what we just did on item P2. This basically includes docks and seawalls in the building permit requirements. It also requires a maintenance of docks and seawalls and provides a process by which the county can make repairs when the condition of a dock or seawall presents a threat to public safety. It also does specifically address certain definitions, including the terms bulkhead, quay wall, revetment, and seawall. And we're just asking you today to accept public comment, adopt the proposed ordinance amendment by roll call vote.
Thank you. Any questions? Any questions? No? Do anybody sign up to speak on this matter? Anybody sign up to speak?
No one's.
Oh, nobody signed up? Okay, nobody signed up. So if anybody hold on, guys. If anybody would like to speak on this item, please come forward at this time and line up one by one. There's only one person? Nobody else? Okay, so you'll be the only speaker. Name and address for the record, please.
Oh, good afternoon. My name is Diane Finney. I live at 6400 Kathleen Drive, Hudson, Florida.
Okay.
Okay, I had sent pictures to the county commissioners on the seawall at 6400 Kathleen Drive. I have pictures from September 6th, November 27th, December 22nd, February 15th, and February 20th of how the erosion of the seawall next to my house has been affecting ours. We had to replace our seawall last year due to the seawall next to us taking ours down, and it's also affecting the neighbor on the other side. Due to us getting a new one, but because the one at 6400 has not been corrected, our new seawall is cracking, the land is going down, every cement structure.
Ma'am, I'm sorry. Guys in the audience, I need the chatter to a minimum. I can't hear. Thank you.
Sorry.
No, you go ahead, ma'am. Sorry.
And we have a pergola with a cement slab there due to the land going down, it's cracking that. Our new, we put an extended walkway on our seawall, that is cracking, and everything due to the erosion of the seawall next to us.
Okay. Well, thank you for your comments.
So
Okay,
you're in
and I
support of
know
the
I had
ordinance?
sent
So you're
pictures.
in support of the ordinance?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
We are too.
Great. And there's nobody else that signed up to speak, so it's back to the board.
Move for approval?
Any questions for staff? None? Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second?
You do.
A second? All in favor?
You've got, this is a roll call
Roll call.
vote.
Okay, this is roll call. Madam Clerk?
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Wells. District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 1, Chairman Oakley.
Aye. Motion passes.
I'd like to thank the county attorney for bringing this forward to take care of a problem that's been out there and addressing it so quickly, so thank you.
That was P3.
Our pleasure.
Okay. P4.
It's easier than the other one.
P4 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on February 1st, 2019.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. It's Ernie Monaco, Long Range Planning. Today we have before you a small-scale comprehensive plan amendment, and it's an adoption hearing. I'll read the ordinance into the record. An ordinance amending the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan, Future Land Use Map, Map 215 and Sheet 19, providing for a small-scale comprehensive plan amendment from Res 3, that's residential, 3 dwelling units per gross acre, to commercial on 2.857 acres of real property located on the northeast corner of Starkey Boulevard and Rangeland Boulevard, providing for repealer, severability, and an effective date. And here is the existing, oops, I keep seeing this back. Sorry, I keep hitting it. Sorry, get there. Okay, here's the existing land use. As you can see, to the west is Longleaf MPUD. To the east is Starkey Ranch MPUD. The cemetery to the north, Duke Power Line running up and down. The subject matter is the one in red in the center of the site. That's for a commercial use, proposed commercial use for the neighborhood. It's worth noting that Starkey Boulevard and Rangeland Road are both collector streets. Okay, here's just the table. Oh my gosh, sorry. Here's a table showing the zoning districts, and the future land use is Res 3. This is where we have a small-scale amendment because we need to change the future land use map. Okay, here you see it on a map, existing future land use, Res 3. It's on the left side and the bottom. Problems with this. Okay, proposed use is a neighborhood commercial district, and that will require a small-scale comprehensive plan map amendment from FLU Res 3 to COM. Now, there are actually 4 tests for consistency that must be met. The first test is a neighborhood commercial uses shall be located on collector or arterial streets, and both those roads are collectors. The second criteria is new neighborhood commercial uses shall not be located internally, and that's not what's being proposed here, so it meets that criteria. Pasco County shall restrict new neighborhood commercial development that proliferates, extends, or sets a precedent. That's not going to happen because you are constrained by the site with the Duke Power Line and the cemetery to the north. The development intensity is limited and designed to serve the needs of the immediate neighborhoods, and both those MPUDs have the population density and population there that actually need that neighborhood commercial center. So it meets all those criteria. Capacity analysis, transportation needs assessment determines that the transportation network has adequate capacity, there's adequate utility services and capacity, there are no concerns with the police, the fire, the schools, there's no environmental concerns from Parks and Recreation, there's no concerns related to emergency management. And on a note, February 21st, 2019, the LPA found that the comprehensive plan amendment is consistent with the comprehensive plan and recommends approval. And we come before you today to approve the amendment to FLU Map 215 and Sheet 19, and to adopt the small-scale comprehensive plan amendment by roll call vote.
Okay, is there anyone here to speak to this item? I have no one signed up.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I need to recuse myself.
On this property? Okay.
We have full approval. Second.
Got a motion and a second. It's a roll call vote.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey. District 4, Commissioner Wells. District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 1, Chairman Oakley.
Aye. Motion passed. Okay. Go to P5.
It was published in the Tampa Bay Times on November 17th, 2018, and December 2nd, 2018.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Denise Hernandez, Planning and Development. Today, this is the adoption of this item, so I'm going to read the item by title. An ordinance amending the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan, Highway Vision Plan, Map 7-36 to update roadways and modify the title to Highway Vision Plan and Functional Class Map, repealing existing Functional Class Map 7-1, 1999 Roadway Functional Classification Map 7-1A, and future Roadway Functional Classification Map 7-24, providing for text amendments to various objectives and policies to modify the title, reference of Map 7-36 and replace references to Map 7-1, 7-1A, and 7-24 with Map 7-36, including text amendments to policies, Future Land Use 1.6.1, Chapter 7 Summary, Objective TRA 2.1, Objective TRA 2.1.2, Objective TRA 2.2, Policy TRA 2.2.1, Policy TRA 2.2.2, Policy TRA 2.2.3, Policy TRA 2.2.4, Policy TRA 2.3.2, Policy TRA 2.3.3, and Chapter 7 Implementation Mechanisms, revising requirements and hierarchy of access in Policy Future Land Use 1.6.7, modifying utilization of future traffic circulation map series and policy TRA 2.1.2, updating function of map 7-36 and objective TRA 2.2, removing the reference to Rule 14-2 Florida Administrative Code in policy TRA 2.2.2 and policy TRA 2.2.6, revising the process to update map 7-36 and policy TRA 2.2.3, updating criteria for classification of roads in policy TRA 2.2.2 and policy TRA 2.2.6, providing for a repealer, severability, and an effective date. Today, we ask that you adopt the proposed large-scale comprehensive plan amendment CPAL 19-03 to modify the highway vision map, eliminating existing functional class map 7-1 in the 1999 roadway functional classification map 7-1A, future roadway functional classification 7-24, and add text amendments and adopt the ordinance by roll call vote.
Okay, I don't have anyone signed up for this item. Mr. Hobby, you'd like to speak?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Auribel Rivero. I work in planning and development. So I'm here to speak about this item. And this is our adopted highway vision plan, and it indicates existing and future arterial and collector roads. The comprehensive plan indicates excuse me for a minute. The comprehensive plan indicates that this highway vision plan shall serve as the guiding document for development of an adequate network of major roadways for future years, and that used during development review in conjunction with arterial and collector spacing standards will ensure that development occurs in a way which does not impair the ability of the county to develop the roads as indicated thereon. Amendments to the Highway Vision Plan are justified to improve the level of service on parallel or congested roadways, to achieve coordination with the Long-Range Transportation Plan, and if they are necessary, to support proposed developments. This is our adopted existing functional classification map, and it indicates existing arterial and collector roadways. So our vision plan indicates existing and future arterial and collector roadways, and this one, the functional classification map, indicates the existing arterial and collector roadways. So there is some redundancy in the information, and the comprehensive plan indicates regarding the functional classification map that it is an official record of existing major roadways, roadways to begin construction or be functionally reclassified in the current or following 2 fiscal years. So as I indicated before, there is a little bit of redundancy in the information, and what we are proposing today is to combine the information into one map, and we will rename it the Highway Vision Plan and Functional Class Map. And this way we can also rescind adopted map 71A, which is a 1999 roadway functional classification map. We can also rescind map 724, which is the future roadway functional classification map. This map illustrates the changes that we have made. The already approved vision roads are the blue roads, and the roads that we are proposing to add as vision roads or that are changing their alignment are in red. However, after we submitted the slides, we did make another modification. The road below County Line Road North between US 41 and Bellamy will not be in your final adopted Highway Vision Plan and Functional Class Map. Staff will evaluate different alternatives, talk to different property owners, and then we will come back to you with certain modifications, whatever modifications are necessary. We are proposing, in addition to the map changes, some text amendments, and they are mainly to modify the title reference of map 736 and replace references to map 71, 71A, and 724 with map 736 for maintaining consistency with the map amendments previously mentioned, and to revise requirements on hierarchy of access for consistency with the Pasco County Land Development Code, to remove the reference of Rule 14-2 from the Florida Administrative Code because this code section no longer applies to the subject comprehensive plan policy. They are to revise the process to update map 736, to modify the utilization and function of map 736, and to update the criteria for classification of roads to include connectivity requirements. This is just one example. I won't go through them all, but here we are simply changing the title of the map to be consistent with the changes that we've already mentioned. And we are indicating that we use this map with access management standards and apply these to comprehensive plan amendments and PUDs, and that is simply to reflect our current practices. Here is an amendment that was not presented to you at the time of transmittal. We did present it to DEO and we had no objections. And since my vision is not good, I'll read from my slides. And it indicates that for a property to be considered located within a small or medium commercial node, it must be at the intersection of at least 2 existing roadways or roadways to be constructed within the following 2 fiscal years in accordance with a land development agreement, the county's adopted capital improvement plan, or FDOT's transportation improvement program, and functionally classified as collector or higher on the Highway Vision Plan and Functional Class Map, map 736. So some additional changes that we made after the slides were submitted and after talking to some of the Suffolk Hills city staff. We did classify county line. This is not working for me, so the pointer is not working for me. So we did classify county line from 301, county line south, from 301 to State Road 39 as a collector road. We also classified Allen Road as a collector road and a segment of Green Slope Drive as a collector road. Also, after the submittal to DEO, we did have some comments from Hernando County objecting to the county line from US 41 to Bellamy being classified as a collector. This is County Line Road North. And so we deleted that from the final version, which I did provide a hard copy for you to see a nicer size. And as I said before, we are going to evaluate different options, and we will come back to you with any modifications necessary. So at this point, Planning and Development Department recommends adoption of the proposed large-scale comprehensive plan amendment and approval of the proposed ordinance by roll call vote. That concludes my presentation. Are there any questions for staff?
I have a question.
One question, all right. Ms.
Can
Stark.
can you pull up a map? Go up like to Google Maps and go to Osteen Road, please?
Is that one of the roads on here?
Well, it's not on there, and I want to suggest that we add it for future road connection. And I'll tell you why when you get it up. What's going on? So if you look on your vision map, you will see Osteen Road stopping at, I think it's Massachusetts. And can you make it so it's satellite? Okay, can you point to Osteen Road?
Where are we at here?
Did you type in Osteen Road?
It's in the center of the screen.
So it's in the middle. Oh, yeah, the one running north-south.
Where? Right.
That's it.
Right here.
That's it there? Yep.
Okay, so go, so what I want to show you is where it stops and then it doesn't connect to Orchid Lake. So I want you to see where, so you see Marchman and you see Wendell Crinn High School. There's an elementary school. Can you bring that down a little bit? Bring the map down. You see Marchman Technical? Okay, maybe you should go back to the other one and make it easier. You see Marchman Technical and Wendell Crinn? There's an elementary school to the left of Wendell Crinn. That road goes on to the right, and it turns right, and you see Osteen Road there? There is another school there. It's Genesis Prep, I believe. And then you see Osteen goes up and stops. And there's a short area where it should connect. And a number of years ago, the Nurembergs tried to bring up that these roads should connect, and they got a lot of flack because they are the ones that have Genesis Prep, and so it looked like they were being very, very self-serving. But when I was on the school board, I always thought these two roads should connect. Because right now, all the traffic, all the parents going to those 4 schools have to go in off of Orchid Lake or down that little road off of Ridge. Instead of being able to go up from the north, it makes everyone go through and drive through that whole neighborhood to get to the school. So it seems to me like we should be looking at connecting that little space so that there is more connectivity around those 4 schools. It would make a lot of sense to me.
Thank you for bringing that up. That makes a lot of sense.
There are a few places like that in the county that frankly don't make a whole lot of sense, and you have 1 or 2 homes maybe that don't want the road, and then it affects, 1,000 other homes, plus all the people going to those 4 schools, so.
Okay.
So I'd like to suggest we add that to the vision map.
Yeah.
So we will come back with some modifications, and we still have our modeling task to go through, and depending on modeling results, we will also have additional modifications, and at that time, we will try to include all those. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry. Mr. Chair,
Mr. Hobby's going to speak, but
could I keep going just for a second?
go ahead, come on.
When we sat down, give me 1 second here. There was when we sat down, there was a road that I had some concerns about on the map that's over in Zephyr Hills, crosses Morris Bridge. If we can zoom into that, you know which one I'm talking about?
What are you talking about?
Since it's considered Zephyr Hills, but it's obviously unincorporated.
Is it one of these
Zephyr
red
Hills.
ones?
Let me see if I can find it here.
New road
A
or
bunch of red ones.
Yeah.
linear road?
Yeah, hold on a sec here. I apologize, it's really hard for me to see this.
I think that was linear, actually.
Pardon me?
Now that I remember, I
Remember?
believe it was linear, yes.
Linear, yes. So, linear. So I expressed my concern about linear. For those of you who don't know, so linear is a paved road that once it barely gets past the church, turns into pretty much an unmaintained type of dirt road. And that's one of the roads that floods terribly in that area. Literally, I've had major issues with that since I've been elected, and I know it's been going on for years and years. And it makes it difficult for people to get in and out sometimes. So thinking about the future, if we ever did connect, I mean, county would have to take over and maintain that road and actually raise that road, because if you don't raise that road or put drainage in, it's useless. I mean, when I say it floods, I mean, it would wash out. We would lose that road probably within 5 years, I would assume. So that's just something to take into consideration. There's no way we should connect that until that was done. It would be useless. And you have some mobile home parks along there, and some, what I would consider, some.
That in your district or
lower.
mine?
It's actually in mine.
Okay.
Yeah. A couple mobile home parks and some people with some nice pieces of property. We also have some very low income houses in that area too, so.
You're saying don't add it to the?
No, I was saying what I said was if we do, you have to really
Have
take
to
that into
raise the road, is what
consideration.
he said.
There's a lot of work you would have to do with that road if you ever connected it. If you ever connect that road, it'd be tons of work you have to do to that road. So it'd be very costly.
Well, someone develops out there.
Well, that's something I'd like to
portion.
look at, so if, I don't know if Ansley or somebody can come get with me and we'll, one of them, we'll look at that road and see what might need to be done.
So we
For
can
the
coordinate
future.
that, we can
Okay.
talk to the Public Works Department and see what would be needed regarding linear.
Yeah.
Parallel to Morris
Well,
Bridge.
yeah.
Okay. Is that all?
Connect. It's in there
No, I wanted to make sure that there was another one that was added, and it could be, it's just that on here, you didn't put a name on it. And I think it's Northwood. Is that added? Or is that a,
It does not ring a bell at the moment, but I will certainly look into that one.
we've had staff out there, and they thought it should become a collector, that it connects 56 to County Line Road?
I think you're referring to Northwood Palms.
Yeah,
I think that's the name of the road.
yeah. And we were going to add that to the vision map, and I think it might be on here, but I can't be sure because you have a road there. It's one of the few that you didn't put a name on it.
Sometimes at a certain scale, the names don't appear, and sometimes you have to print bigger copies.
So when you modify, then those come back to us? Okay.
So just please make sure that road's on there.
Well, can I get some clear direction? Are you asking Ari to continue this item to add these roads, or are you asking her to add them in a future update? Because I think we need clarity. I think
I'm
Keith put-
thinking adding them in a future update is what I was thinking.
Okay.
Well, when are we going to do the future update? These guys have been waiting a number of years for that to be changed.
We can come back to you with a modification. I mean, this can be, if this is approved today, that doesn't prevent us from coming back with a modification.
You can always amend the comp plan later to add roads, but that's why I'm asking for direction.
Okay.
So that's what I think. If we approve this
You're
today,
asking
then
her to-
we come back with an amendment like you're talking about.
Right.
That's
So,
fine.
so you're okay with it being amended later? That's the question.
Well, we have
I
to
think that'd
study
be good.
Osteen anyway, I mean,
Okay.
we can't just do that.
Yeah,
We-
you
we have
need to go
study
look at that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to go look at that one road for sure, that Lanier.
Okay.
Okay? Mr. Hobby, you'd like to say something?
Clark Hobby, Hobby and Hobby PA, 109 North Brush Street. I asked Nicole to put this crude marking up on here, and I think I'm speaking the same language as staff, but I want to be very clear because, again, as you've noted, the scale of the maps are such that sometimes the nomenclature on the map doesn't reflect what our intent is. The marked areas you see of Bowman Road and Bayhead there are new and were just proposed by staff last week, and I had not cleared them with our clients that own all the property there. So, with the exception of Bayhead, I should say. And so staff has agreed to remove those from this map, but I'd like the motion from you all today to be clear that we're removing what's shown as Bowman Road and Bayhead Road between US 41 and Bellamy Brothers Boulevard. Of course, we'll continue to work with staff, and if we all get on the same page and want to add these back, or add them at another time, that may be acceptable, but right now I don't have my clients on board with that.
Is that a dirt road now?
I would
That
like to have it
dirt road on
removed
some
right
of
now.
this?
That's right, I would like to have it removed now.
No, he asked whether it was a dirt road.
The
There
dirt
is
road
no
now?
road, it's just going through my client's property.
Right,
There's
okay.
nothing there at all.
Yeah, the part that's marked in there's,
That part of Bayhead that's in the hard line, I
Yeah.
believe that's depicting the first mile of it. That is a dirt road.
Right.
The rest of it doesn't exist until I think you get to the hard line over on the other end of Bowman Road. But neither of those sections on there are on the existing map.
And
So
they-
they're all new.
you haven't been able to talk to your client about,
That's right.
about those, so we need to do that before we add those in,
That's right.
okay?
Just to clarify, the final.
To the mic, please, I'm sorry.
copies
Get to
that
the
I
mic,
Mike,
Ari, to the mic.
Mike,
The final copies that I have provided, and I've already provided them to the clerk and to you, the final copy of the proposed highway vision map and functional class map doesn't have the road, just.
May I see it? Hasn't been provided to me.
Here,
okay?
I have some more questions.
Okay, this satisfies me. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
You, I have some more questions.
Come back.
So, and what is the, for you. When a road gets added on here, what does that do? Does that mean we pave it, maintain it versus a PVAS, or what's the?
Well, I don't believe we have anybody from Public Works here. And,
Yeah, we do, right there.
Do we? Oh, okay. I think.
We got the main man, so.
I believe that Public Works is working to change or working on this policy, but as of today, I believe that is still the.
Yeah, they're Mike Carvalho. Yeah, the PVAS ordinance changes and things are still a work in progress. So as we eventually work to change that system out, that's not something you change overnight. It takes time, so.
So then, what is Roadway Drive north of Plath? I'm not even familiar with that road.
I'm sorry, I don't have a big.
It's one that you're adding here, and then why are we adding these roads within, is that Beacon Woods? Jack, is that your neighborhood?
Yeah, Beacon Woods and.
Why are we adding the roads in that neighborhood and what,
So
in the other
the
neighborhood?
roads in that neighborhood, we did look at them and evaluate them. And when you have a congested road like 19, it is of value to us to also classify some parallel roadways as collectors so that we can try and have access management and also when we can get the right-of-way, and then that way we can provide alternative routes to kind of relieve that congested roadway. That was one of the rationales for, but you know, there is also in the comprehensive plan a table, let me see if I can get to, that has some criteria of how a road can become an arterial or a collector road. And it doesn't necessarily have to meet all of the criteria, but some of the criteria. So there's different things that we look at. One of them could be the spacing, how far is it or how close it is to a collector road, if it's, again, parallel to a congested roadway. And then we also look at this table.
Okay, so where and what is Roadway Drive? Because I am not familiar with that road.
I'm perhaps if I could come closer.
It's north of Plath. Well, do you have the proposed map that you can look here, but
I just want to make sure I'm looking at the roadway that.
it's this little red one in kind of the Newport Richey area. I am right there.
All right. Sometimes roadways that appear right next to a blue line, or it's because they've been constructed and we didn't have the, let's say, the exact alignment before, and so they show up in red as a change, but they were a vision road approved in the past, and since we are changing the alignment to reflect the conditions, the true conditions, then they show up in red, and that's what it appears that that one is. I can always look into that.
Well, that may be your district. Do you know that road?
It is, yeah, I thought we met on this like back in didn't we vote on this in January?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure, I missed it, but I know we sat down and discussed it, yeah, it's in my district, and, yeah, I don't know specifically
I
what
believe
questions, but I agree with them, we all agree with
This
it.
is an arterial collector roadway?
Yep.
Can't say I've ever been on it. I've been here 28 years. I'm gonna look for it. Okay, yeah, it doesn't even show up when you, is it roadway drive, roadway lane? What is it called?
I'll have to perhaps look into it with all the.
Why wouldn't it show up on, if it's a collector arterial, show up on the map, roadway drive? Nope. Maybe someone can pull it up. So, Commissioner Wells, is it drive, is it roadway lane, is it roadway street?
I don't know, I mean, yeah, I'm not sure. And I know I sat down and discussed it with staff beforehand, and we went through it, but it's been a while, so.
It's not coming up as roadway drive. It doesn't come up as roadway street, so I'd like a little more information on that road. It doesn't even show up on the maps, and we're gonna start maintaining it as a county arterial.
Commissioner,
This was previously an approved road, and we've only made the modification to reflect the true alignment. So it's right below another road.
It still doesn't answer my question. If it's an arterial collector road, why doesn't anyone know where it is and what the right name is of it?
yeah, I don't know the specifics on this roadway. This map depicts roads that haven't even been built yet. This is a vision map. It's the map for roads
Not here
at
yet.
build-out, so there will be roads on here that aren't even built today. And one particular goes right through the middle of the county.
Yeah, that just looks like
So-
it's in an area that's been
So there are
built for a
roads
while.
on here we aren't maintaining today and won't be maintaining because they haven't been built yet. This is a vision map, it's for build-out, it doesn't depict the roads that we're specifically maintaining today. That's not the intent of the road, the map.
Okay, well, I'll try and find the land it's going to.
Okay.
I will look into it further and certainly get back to you.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. It's a pleasure of the board.
Second.
Just to clarify the motion, that's with the revised map that Ari handed out to you all?
The revised maps.
Okay.
And got a motion and a second, and I believe it's a roll call vote.
Yes. District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Wells.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 1, Chairman Oakley.
Aye. Motion passed. Go to P6.
Publication for P6, Tampa Bay Times, March 1st, 2019. Oh, it's withdrawn.
It shows that it's withdrawn. You going to read it, or?
PDD 197395, Terry B. and Louis L. Lynch. It's for rezoning from AR to R1MH, and this was withdrawn by county staff as the item was done as a variance. So
Okay.
no further action required.
Okay. P7 also looks like it's withdrawn.
P7 PDD 190856, large-scale comprehensive plan amendment CPAL 1818 Aaron Cutoff. This is also withdrawing the application from further consideration, and no further action is required.
P8 is continue to a date uncertain.
Would you continue time certain? Time uncertain?
Yeah. So it's going to have to be re-advertised.
Yes, item will be re-advertised.
Okay.
Do you need me to state it in
So
there?
we need to do it.
You can take a motion just for purposes of the records, but it's a motion to a date uncertain, which requires them to start basically to re-advertise for their next hearing wherever it is.
Okay. I'll entertain that motion.
You got it? I made the motion.
I need a second.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to a time to continue to a date uncertain. All those in favor say aye.
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 Do you want me to go over P9, or do you want to call for proof of publication?
It's continued.
Continuance.
Okay, it's continuance. And it is,
Continue time
Now,
certain?
Second.
whoa.
wait a minute.
So the clerk needs to, has this been advertised?
It has, and P8 was advertised on Tampa Bay, in the Tampa Bay Times, February 8th, 2019, and P9 was advertised in Tampa Bay Times on March 1st, 2019.
Okay,
So move
Now-
to continue time certain?
Time certain.
okay.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to continue time certain. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passed.
Procedures, Mr. Chairman?
Sir?
Procedures?
Yes, sir.
There are two rezoning agendas, regular and consent. Staff will present each application to the Board of County Commissioners. If staff or Planning Commission has recommended approval and there is no opposition, the application will be considered by the board without further presentation. If staff or Planning Commission has recommended denial, or if there is opposition to the application, the applicant will be given 5 minutes for presentation. The opposition will be given 3 minutes for each individual, or 5 minutes for a group representative, and the applicant will be given 3 minutes for rebuttal. Any individual disagreeing with staff or Planning Commission recommendation, or anyone wishing to object to any condition of the rezoning may at this time request the petition be pulled from the consent agenda, in which case that application will be heard under the regular agenda later on during the meeting. Otherwise, all rezoning applications on the consent agenda will be approved by a single motion and vote. If you wish to speak to any petition, please give your name and address and whether or not you've been sworn for the record. These are quasi-judicial public hearings. The law in Florida is that mere public support or opposition is insufficient for this board to take action. Please limit your comments to those criteria found within the board's land development code.
Okay.
And this would be
At
the
this time,
time
it's
that
time
the...
to swear people in.
Right.
Yes. If anyone is here to speak on items P10 through P11, please stand and I will swear you in. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, so help you God?
The clerk is right. The swearing in is only for P10 and P11, but you have more items on your consent agenda than that.
Okay.
So that's, but
But that
P12 and
covers it.
P13 are
Okay.
legislative items, which is why she didn't call those items.
Okay. All right.
All right.
P10.
Publication, Tampa Bay Times, March 1st, 2019.
PDD 197399, this is in the name of Patrick McVicker. It's a change in zoning from AC agricultural and AR1 agricultural residential districts to an AR agricultural residential district. This comes to you with a recommendation of approval from both Planning and Development Department and the Planning Commission.
Is anyone here to speak against this item? Seeing no one, we move to consent. P11.
P11 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on March 1st, 2019.
P11 is PDD 19-CU22. It's a conditional use request in the name of Pasco Ranch Inc., main event, Wesley Chapel, for the sale of alcoholic beverages, beer, wine, and liquor on premises consumption in conjunction with the operation of a bowling alley and entertainment center in a master plan unit development district. This comes to you with a recommendation of approval with conditions from both Planning and Development Department and the Planning Commission.
Quick discussion, I'm not pulling it. Who's here for that?
He wants
That
you
by
to
the
build it
outlets?
quick.
Yeah.
It is? Okay, we'll just double check it.
He wants it built very quickly.
Well, it's great because we have a lot of people in that community that have been waiting for a bowling alley, so this is strong.
Is there anyone here to speak against P11? Seeing no one, move to consent. Can we vote on those, or?
Leave it on consent.
Leave it on
but-
consent?
No, keep going.
P12?
Do the whole
Oh, do the
consent
whole
agenda.
consent. All right. P12?
P12 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on January 18th, 2019.
P12 is PDD 19-0522. It's a large-scale comprehensive plan amendment, CPAL 1819, River Landing. And this is the transmittal hearing for a comprehensive plan amendment to the future land use maps 2-15 and sheet 18, changing from Res 3 residential 3 dwelling units per gross acre to planned development on approximately 801 acres. And this comes to you with a recommendation to approve the transmittal of the item.
Okay. Anyone here to speak against P12? Seeing no one, leave it on consent.
Was that 12?
P13.
P13
Published in the Tampa Bay Times, January 25th, 2019.
This is also transmittal, PDD 19-0844. This is a comprehensive plan amendment, 19-08 Legacy. It's a transmittal of proposed comprehensive plan text amendment to Legacy Sub-Area Policy, Future Land Use 7.1.18.
Is there anyone here to speak against P13? Seeing no one, leave it on consent. P14.
P14 was published in the Tampa Bay Times, March 14th, 2019.
P14 is UT 19-0589. It's a resolution to increase the annual streetlight assessment and upgrade to LED streetlights in the Riverside Estates Streetlight Service Area. And it's incurs annual charges of $13,897.80, and it's a recommendation of approval.
Is anyone here to speak against P14? Seeing no one, leave it on consent.
One more.
No, we got one more.
Where's that?
Yeah. P15.
Published in the Tampa Bay Times, February 6th and 13th, 2019.
P15 is FAC 19-0060. It's a petition to vacate utility easement on State Road 54. It's under State Road 54 Land Associates LLC. Parcel ID 25261700100290000010, according to the plat of Astoria Phase 3, Lot 1, Block 29, and this recommendation is to approve.
Okay, is anyone to speak against P15? Seeing no one, move it to consent.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion passed. P16.
P16 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on March 1st, 2019.
Is a resolution adopting.
Can't hear you.
P16 is a
Somebody needs to fix
resolution
that.
adopting right-of-way preservation with standards. And some background information, in 2004, the Board of County Commissioners approved a resolution adopting standard roadway typical sections. And in 2006, the board approved additional standard roadway typical sections for constrained roads. This is an example of one of our typical cross-sections that was adopted in 2004, and it requires 142 feet of right-of-way for a 4-lane urban road. And this is an example of one of the constrained roadways. The constrained cross-sections were not used very often, and these cross-sections were used to establish right-of-way requirements in our corridor preservation tables for arterial and collector roadways in the comprehensive plan. So this is an example of one of the right-of-way preservation with standards that we would like to propose today. It requires 80 feet of right-of-way for a 2-lane urban roadway. Some important notes about the right-of-way preservation with standards that we are proposing today is that the Planning and Development Department is proposing to be able to administratively apply alternative standards and implement these so that the applicants don't have to go to the public hearing process if it's not necessary. However, they do not apply to roads that have a route study, that have design plans or approved MPUDs or approved site plans or FDOT roads. The design elements within the right-of-way preservation with standards will be dependent on the surrounding land use context, and that will allow staff to make determinations as to, say, for example, if you need a larger multi-use path depending on the area, or bike lanes, etc. And the urban with standards will apply to urban and suburban areas, and here you can see that the top light blue area is the rural area. So by us applying the urban standards to the rest of the county will significantly reduce the right-of-way requirements for incoming developments. And so this is a chart indicating the right-of-way required in the adopted sections, the right-of-way required in the proposed right-of-way preservation with standards, and the reduction. In the top line, you do see a blank there, and that is because in our urban areas, we were mostly applying the 135 feet right-of-way requirement. So if we take now that area that I showed you and we require the 80 feet, that would be a 41% reduction in right-of-way requirement. So here's just an example of a gentleman in Mile Stretch Road. The existing right-of-way there is 33 feet. The table requires 50 feet from the center line of the road, and if we're able to administratively implement the right-of-way preservation with standards that we're proposing today, then we would only be requiring 40 feet from the center line of the road. That would mean that his requirement from his property line would decrease from 17 feet to 7 feet without him having to go through the hearing process. So the Planning and Development Department recommends that you approve the proposed resolution. Are there any questions for staff?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
For a road like Old Dixie up in Hudson, the roadways there, there's like no room to go anywhere. There's sidewalks a sidewalk in place on one side of the road, sometimes two. I don't know if that quite goes far enough to help that situation out there, but how do we get to look at that to give you flexibility to say, you know what, you're going to come in, you're going to go develop your property. We're not going to make everybody up and down that road change. This doesn't seem like it's going to address that. Is there a way that can be incorporated to give you flexibility to say, you know what, we're not going to expand this road, it's not going to change in width, but we don't want to slow down development to come in anyway?
So there is a note in the tables, in the comprehensive plan, the right-of-way preservation tables that say that if the final design has been achieved and the right-of-way has been acquired, we can substitute it for the proposed corridor width and not require any more right-of-way. And so staff would generally look at it as if there's any bike lanes, if there's any sidewalks and whatnot. And if all the things that the long-range transportation plan calls for or whatnot are there, then we say no additional right-of-way is required because the final design has been achieved.
So it could be done administratively at that level of permitting?
So we have done that
Okay.
in several
All right,
locations.
just to make sure, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Any other questions?
I just wanted to make sure there was room for bike trails with the ability to put landscaping, and they've assured me they can do that with this.
We have incorporated landscaping in all
Okay.
of the cross-sections. Thank you. Thank you for that comment.
All right. Pleasure of the board.
Public comment?
Do we take a motion today?
Public comment.
Oh, public comment, excuse me. Is there anybody here to speak to this item?
Seeing no one,
Seeing
move
no one?
approval? Move approval?
Second.
Got an approval and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Now we move back to regular item number 5. Welcome, Adam.
Good afternoon, Chairman Oakley, Adam Thomas, Tourism Director, Pasco County. In 2018, we started our visitor tracking and economic impact analysis of our initiatives or the tourism industry. And over that year, we saw some tremendous growth as it pertains to visitor numbers. And today I wanted just to go over that real quick and show you the value of what this industry brings to Pasco County. Starting off with the economic impact of over $615 million on an annual basis. You know, comparing that to other destinations, that's really a large piece of the pie when you're talking about the Tampa market. Our return on investment is every dollar that we spend in marketing generates over $1,000 in visitor spending. Our direct spending by visitors was well over $436 million. And you can see what they're spending on as they're coming into market. They're spending on accommodations, restaurants, groceries, attractions, and shopping, just to name a few. Moving right along, those, you're going to see in the next slide about 965 annual visitors came to Pasco County, which generated on an annual basis over $57 million in sales tax generation and tourist development tax of over $2.5 million. That sales tax actually generates from our gas tax, the sales tax, and property taxes that are paid on an annual basis by properties. Again, our room nights generation from those 965,000 visitors was around just over $1.1 million. That actually, going back to the $57 million, that actually saves Pasco County residents $294 on their annual tax. So we're actually a tax saver for the citizens and residents of Pasco County. Silver lining to actually what we do, we're a job generator. So in 2018, we generated over 7,480 jobs that are supported by tourism that created wages of over $156 million on an annual basis, which turns into every 129 visitors that actually come to Pasco County equals one job. And again, going back to the tax savings of $294 on each Pasco County household. And that is basically it. I was going to break it down a little bit in deeper details as it pertains to our visitors, the 965,000 on an annual basis. Out of those, 496,000 were paid accommodations, 332,000 were day trippers, and the rest, 136,000 were visiting friends and family. And our total comparison on a quarterly basis, you can see our bulk of what we generate is right now during our high peak season of January of March, which generates over 277,000 visitors, and it generates over $150 million of total direct expenditures, which create $212 million on an economic impact scale. So wanted to give the board an informational on the value of tourism, of what we actually do for Pasco County as a company.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Adam, I'm reading through the slide presentation that you've got. I think you've got some awesome information in there. I know you're cutting it short maybe because we're a little bit late, but
My leg was about to fall asleep back there.
I think there's a lot of great information there. If we don't want to hear it now, I think we should reschedule it because you've got a lot of great information. I'd like to have a little discussion about it too.
And this is just half of actually our information and our analysis. We haven't gone into the demographics and what our visitor profile actually looks like. This is actually one piece of our reporting. So I wanted to provide the economic impact, but on a much larger scale, we have a bigger, broader data of who our visitors actually are.
Like the points you were just talking about, as far as when these people come in and what demographics coming in, I think the median age that's in the thing is awesome. And I think, way back when tourist development, when it first got started, whenever we'd have these special events that were coming in or other events coming in, we'd always try to have them focus in the summertime because that's when our collections were least. And from what I can see, from June on through December, it's still that way.
Right.
So it hasn't changed, and I think that's good information for us to see. We still need to trend that way. I think we'll also see that, as we create more tourism opportunities, those hotels are going to get generated. But it also has a lot of good slides about why people came here, what attracted them, what they'd like to see, what to go by. So I think there's something the board needs to hear, and I guess Commissioner Wells got a meeting with the value adjustment, the VAB, but or whatever the board is, the canvassing board, sorry. But I think it's very important for the board to hear the whole thing. So I don't want to shortcut this because I was expecting a much longer presentation. But I think you've got some tremendous information that we need to hear, and I think the public could benefit from as well. I don't know what the pleasure of the board is.
Yeah, well, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
And your team's doing amazing things, as I've stated over and over again, Adam. So we're very appreciative of everything you're doing. Go back to those numbers one more time, if you would, what the economic impact has been. So you look at that number. So $615 million in economic impact. That's huge for Pasco County.
And that's without an identity, and that's without actually without a strategy or actually a brand.
And exactly what I was going to say, Adam. So now with the new brand out there, and obviously amazing job for the kickoff at the airport. It's only going to go up. The events that are coming through here, like Commissioner Merritt just mentioned, it's not just during the summertime anymore. It's year round. And when the Wiregrass Ranch Sports Complex is finished, you can imagine how those numbers are going to increase. I was going to bring this up during Commissioner Items, might as well bring it up now. So Friday, we have the National Disabled hockey tournament coming into town. There's teams from, I don't know, in the nation. I think there's people from outside the country possibly coming too.
I believe so.
Yeah, it's coming too.
And
So
it's for 2 weekends.
2 weekends, and again, approximately how many people are we expecting for that again? It was ginormous.
I believe it's generating close to 1,200 room nights.
1,200 room nights.
Those 2 weekends.
And that's huge for that tournament. And then on Friday night, again, invite anybody that's around the opening ceremonies or Friday night. I'm going to be dropping the puck at I don't remember what time, but 8 or 9 o'clock or whatever it may be. And there's going to be a game with Lightning alumni that are taking on some of these other athletes. So it's going to be a really, really neat event. But yeah, just keep on moving on, my friend.
We're actually working on beat baseball right now for the blind. It's actually another great event that's going to generate close to 1,400 room nights for 5 days.
Yeah, and that's the focus. What Adam's talking about, the focus has gone from just events to, hey, how do we generate that ROI, as you see here, for the citizens of Pasco County? So that focus is on those room nights, because if they're spending the night in the hotels, where they're going out to dinner, they're buying their gas here, they're going to the shops, they're doing everything in Pasco County. And, when we talk about some of these events, now Adam and his team, when they work with the events, they actually, stipulations are, they need to stay in Pasco County now. And now we have the hotels.
Right.
We're going to have any more.
That's right.
And that's another thing that's going to help increase this too. As more of the hotels are finished, we're only going to see higher revenues.
Adam, is our branding, because we were questioning, because we saw the hat and the coffee cup that we had that says Sports Coast.
Yes, sir.
Has there been Pasco County used with that enough to the people realize sports,
In
the
the
sports
language, we're
coast,
using a
is that?
geographical reference of where we're actually at. So we're talking about the area of where the asset of where they're actually going to be playing at. Yes, sir. So
Right.
we're identifying the destination as Experience Florida Sports Coast and Florida Sports Coast as the brand,
Right.
and going after that's necessarily more of a strategy rather than just a logo or a name or a slogan. It's more of a who we're going after. You know, the active family, the active couple, the active traveler that's looking for outdoor adventure, but also looking for youth tournaments and amateur sports.
But eventually, I mean, use them both Pasco County along with that so that they recognize that Sports Coast means Pasco County is
Yes,
your
sir.
destination?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. That's what I'm asking, because it doesn't have Pasco County with that emblem, so.
So, again, that was going back to our research
Mhm.
and during our brand analysis of who we were and who we are now. Nobody through our research, we did A and B testing, no one through our research knew what Pasco County was from a tourism perspective. And no one knew, and there was an opportunity to own Florida Sports Coast within the Florida market because no one owned a quadrant of authentic and natural. And that was an opportunity for us to grab and take ownership
So
of.
we own this brand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Copyright?
Yes, well, in the process of.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
So when I flew in from Washington last week or whenever, life's a blur right now, the whole plane was full of athletes, young athletes coming down to play in the hockey tournament at the, what's the name now? Center Ice, boys teams and girls teams. So it was very interesting. It was the Southwest flight. Do you take into account all the people staying in these are all the home aways? I know there used to be a map like this of Airbnb rooms available. Are we counting
showing up as-
those, or what are we doing with all those people?
We are surveying, or not us, but Downs and St. Germain, our research firm, is actually surveying consumers or heavy foot traffic areas at attractions or public areas or even hotel lobbies. The Airbnbs, the vacation rentals, consist of only 2% of where our visitors are actually staying. So the bulk of visitors are actually staying at hotels, and then also they're staying at visiting friends and family.
But, so do you add 2% onto your numbers, or do we just not count this group at all?
It's added into our numbers of identifying what properties they're staying at. So if we go back to our analysis on visiting friends and family, day trippers, so the day trippers are 332,000 and the visiting friends and family are 136,000 on an annual basis for the visitors that have traveled to Pasco County.
Excellent.
So they're either staying in
Good.
vacation rentals, they're staying in RV parks or campgrounds, but the bulk of visitations or the bulk of overnight stays are at hotel properties.
Great.
Okay, sounds good. Any other questions?
So I guess we don't want to hear the whole presentation as well?
I would love to hear.
No, I
I
think
mean,
we're okay.
I think the presentation's awesome. I mean, the slides here are incredible.
He's waited all day.
I had not, the only slides I only had a couple, like 5 minutes, so I just put together this
That's it?
slide,
All
but I
right.
can come back at a next
I mean, I
board
tell you, because
meeting
it's
and-
got the data where the
Let's-
people,
yeah.
it's got the data where the people are coming from. It tells you your average vacationer is 44 years old, median household income 75, and 26% travel with children.
Right.
Typical long-term, 92,000, 19% with children. When it looks for additional activities, it's asking for more outdoor activities, more family-friendly activities, more restaurants, which I think will come when more tourism comes in, water park, music festival, animal encounters, shopping options. So I think these are things that are going to be important for us as we make decisions on what to get behind and what not to. It talks about, I think it's a huge percentage of our people drive in here, 91% I believe is the number.
Mhm.
Only 7% fly in. I was surprised at that number, but that tells us who's coming in.
Yes, sir.
The things that we need to go push on, I think, are going to be directly affected. Now, something else that I want to bring up that Commissioner Starkey had mentioned a long time ago, and I thought we'd get in discussion toward committee reports, but being that you're here, I think it's a big thing. Commissioner Stark, you had mentioned, like, on our buses that we have, it'd be good if we could put, advertising little things around the buses. And I think with the bus negotiations that are going to come up, that we look at getting maybe a little spot or two, if that can be done. And I think cooperatively, the bus people, Blackjack would probably do it, is get a few spots on there. We can advertise the ice rink, the tree hoppers, SunWest, the new park that's coming up, Starkey Park, et cetera, all the way up and down, that if those things are on there, that'll be a good little addition to when people out and around, they'll actually see it. And that's 91% of our people. So I think that's something good to, if staff can go work that in, I think you'd get cooperation with it, because it actually makes it a little more attractive to look at anyway, but maybe something to look at.
We can customize the survey with any questions you like. The survey was actually customized when we started the analysis back in January 2018, but yes, we can customize the questionnaire and ask any questions the board chooses so.
Yeah, no, I think you've got some great information ready to work with, so well done.
Thank you.
There's another place I would like to do more marketing. I'm not sure how much it would relate to tourism, but when I call the county and I get on hold, I hear music. And I would much rather hear us talk about our story when I'm on hold. And we should have professional people.
Are you willing to do the voiceover?
No, not me. But I think we should have positive stories about the county and messaging when you're on hold instead of music.
Actually, I think you're onto something, but I think we should take that extra step. I mean, when you go into the airport and you're riding that tram back and forth, whose name do you hear?
Yeah.
Buckhorn coming in and out. I think that actually would be a good thing for each one of us that wanted to do those voiceovers. I think it's a great idea.
But we can say, talk about our satisfaction survey, or we're opening up a new park, or great thing, things to do this weekend, or I don't know how much we want to change, but we definitely should be using that time while people are on hold to talk about our story.
Good report.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Good job, Adam.
You're good?
Come back with deeper, longer detail.
Yeah, I mean, we want to give you a high-level overview soon after we got the information. And today's agenda didn't allow for a deep dive based on everything else that was on the agenda. If the board would like to come back for a deep dive, we can. You got all the data in your report, so I mean, all the information's there. We'll look at the schedule and see if it makes sense. Or otherwise, you have all the information.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I think it's just good for us to talk about it as we go along, too, and as we ask questions, we can get deeper into it. Let me float an idea, a question kind of to you, as far as thinking about up and down as far as 19 goes. We've got the Belmont Inn, the Howard Johnson's, there's another one down in Port Richey. You got a lot of hotels, and the city of Newport Richey just did something about their motels, whatever, where they don't want this to be just a low-income project to go through. And I was only talking with Ernie Monaco about all these hotels that we have that aren't generating any revenue like the hotels are supposed to do, which really holds us back from where we go. If you ever take a look at that or want to get into that conversation, it might be something good for us to bring up to what do we want to do about those hotels? Is there a better way to look at doing affordable housing somewhere else? That Habitat townhome projects would be good to push it on as far as getting those off 19 and into regular places where people can live as opposed to just living in a hotel room.
All right, no action on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for the information. Now we'll go to old business. Mr. Moore?
Yeah, give me 1 second here. Let me grab my thoughts here. Go to Commissioner Stark if you don't mind and come back to me, because there was one thing I wanted to bring up, but.
I can't think of anything.
Okay. Mr. Wells not here. Mr. Mariano?
I've got 3 things, and one of them
Okay.
is put on your desk. The gentleman here from Cruise Lake, and just recently, or actually just at the break today, he actually came up to me and he said, The Florida Department of Agriculture has done a reclassification, taking away an exemption for the 501c3, and it's going to hurt them quite a bit. Jerry Smithen's here, if maybe we could entertain the board, he can actually talk about what he's going through right now, and what he's going through, because I will tell you, as much as I think we've done a great job helping them out with Cruise Lake, giving them a spot, I think, Jerry, if you'd come forward, just kind of tell the board what's going on. And I had Amanda write up a letter for each one of us. We wanted to sign it, we could send it on. It might be helpful for him to get the, exemption in there.
Jerry Swinson, 4411 Edith Street, Newport Richey. I was one of the founding fathers of the Central Pasco and Gulf Railroad at Cruise Lake Park. What's going on is that back in 1998, I had the opportunity to have this ordinance passed through the Agricultural Commissioner that would exempt us from taxes for permits, et cetera, for our railroad. Not for here, but it was actually for Largo, Florida, which I was vice president down there, and then we expanded up here. What's happening is that I'm actually on the inspection oversight committee in the state of Florida for the Agricultural Commissioner. And what they're trying to do here, and I don't disagree with what they're trying to do, except they're doing a broad brush, basically throwing the baby out with the bathwater. They're had a problem with a gentleman up in northern part of Florida that has a carnival operation that's trying to sneak into a loophole with the 501c3 museum extension. And what's happened here is the Agricultural Commissioner has now just wiped that out completely, which hurts not just our railroad, but other railroads that are involved in the state of Florida. We're trying to, and in fact, I talked to Hudson up in Jacksonville on the Senate bill, and right now, as of yesterday, they have stopped that portion of it. The House bill is still being presented, and that is House Bill HB 12, excuse me, I gotta pull my glasses
67.
on. Let me get older.
1267.
1267, which I have a copy of it here. Actually, I don't have a problem getting rid of the exemption for that particular location, but it does hurt us financially in the railroad industry, where we're going to have to pay the fees, which are quite exorbitant in the amusement industry, along with the inspections and things of that nature that we'll have to pay for. I can tell you that our railroad and other railroads in this community do observe through the ASTM standards that, which I am part of also. Basically, what I'm doing here is I'm asking that we get backing for our railroad that will limit the exemption just for railroads under 9 gauge, which we are 7.5 inch gauge. If you get above that 12-inch gauge margin, you get into the amusement industry, which I definitely agree that there should be inspections and stuff of that nature. So that's what I'm asking here, that you help us out through your commissions here to the state of Florida.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. And you want to take these copies with you, correct?
Excuse me?
You want to take these copies with you too?
Yeah, just one copy for our purposes.
Okay.
I'd like to have it
Yeah,
sent.
we've one from each commissioner, I think.
We did it individual just so we can we'll give you each one of ours
Do
when we
one
get
from the
done.
board if we do it.
Want to do one from the
If
board?
everyone-
Just let the chairman do it. I'm fine with that. Just
Yeah.
send one letter.
yeah,
One
I-
chairman, we'll let it from the chairman?
Yeah, we can do that. We can
Okay.
make a motion.
I think make it easier. I'll make a motion, letter for the chairman to go to the Commissioner of Agriculture to remove or allow for the gentleman's letter.
A second? Second. All right, got a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passed.
Mr.
Thank you.
Chairman,
Thank you very much.
Commissioner Wells showed me his. I would correct that there is no title. It just says
gonna say, we'll
Honorable
get that out.
Freed. So
Yeah.
that needs to be changed before
Yeah,
the
it's
chair
gotta
signs.
be, it's gotta be changed, because this one I've got is just for an individual commissioner rather than as a
Yeah.
chairman. So it'll be changed.
Thank you again.
All right, thank you.
So just hang around till after. Lastly, I know a while ago I had talked into looking into golf cars west of 19, from Del Mar up in the Hudson area, up to Hudson Avenue. And I think there was a pretty good support for it. I'm not sure why it didn't go forward, but I'd like to bring it forward again. I know we just passed one this morning, so it kind of triggered my thought to bring it forward again. So I don't know what it would take, Mr. County Attorney, to do what you had just done this morning, County Attorney Office?
You said county attorney.
You're
you
looking
looked
at me.
County
Yeah,
administrator, I'm
okay,
sorry.
so that's why we're both giving you blank
That's all
looks.
right. So, for the administration to actually take a look at it and figure out how we can actually segregate the area and look at allowing golf carts to be on street, if they're street legal, to be up and down. I will tell you, Hudson has got a major problem as far as the beach area for parking. It was actually talked about if we can actually improve the parking lot at, along Clark Street coming in, where we can actually move some pervious along the boat parking there. We could probably pick up about 10 more spots, but I think if we allow golf carts too, that might even allow more space up there. It's a very popular area.
I went through this already, if you want me to jump in. I've gone through this with the neighborhood already.
Yeah, and this doesn't have this area doesn't have an established neighborhood, right?
No, there's no established neighborhood. It's
So we would
like
just
a
have
lot
to
of-
look at it on our own. I think the concern is how do you get the golf carts there? Because I'm not sure Dixie Highway is going to be qualified. It's going to be too fast. Clark may be okay. Obviously 19, the traffic's too fast. So you're kind of limited just to the people that live there.
It's, well, and I'll tell you, if you look at from, let's say, Del Mar coming up down, there's a bunch of canal homes that are going through there. The road going up there, Old Dixie kind of jogs around, whatever, it's in bad shape anyway, but you could bring the speed limit down to the 30 if it's not 30.
It's not
already.
about speed limit, it's about how fast people drive. We went through this with Gulf Harbors. The speed was too high to allow golf carts for it to be a golf cart community. So it's not about the speed limit, it's about the speed they actually drive. We should go out and do a traffic study, but we can do that.
We can do that,
You
let's
drive-
take a look and
yeah,
just,
drive-
just take a step. I'm not sure where it stopped short before, but,
Sketch me a map, and
Okay.
then I'll get it to traffic ops, and we'll go look at it.
okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Mr. Chairman, I'm ready now.
And I have some.
Okay,
They just reminded me.
Mr. Moore, you can go ahead, and then
Thanks.
Mr. Wells.
So just two things, and I needed to look something up on a map first before I brought it up. One thing I just wanted to talk to the team and Dan about, we did an initiative on illegal dumping that we had started, a little over a year ago and stuff. It seemed to kind of fizzled out. I was hoping we could look at bringing that back and starting to promote that a little bit
Yeah, we can
more
do that.
again.
Yeah, we
It'd be
can
great. because
re-energize that stuff.
I am seeing our fine donation bins starting to pop up again, left and right, and people are once again, starting to dump by them. Noticed quite a few of them. So we can get that rolling again, that'd be great. I know Mark and his team did a good job. We just want to
And if we can,
stay consistent.
if we can get just the locations on the bins, we'll get code out there.
Oh, yeah,
on them. So
yeah.
we just need locations.
Yeah.
So,
But if we can just kick that off again, that'd be great. In the second thing I wanted to bring up is, and I probably should have just brought this up to you this morning, Dan, but since it's on my mind now, we've had some issues on 54 where the Walmart is, which actually Wiregrass Ranch Boulevard, where it's eventually going to connect, but that's considered Wiregrass Ranch Boulevard. I've worked with Chase and his team, and they've done a good job patrolling the area or ticketing, but we have semis that are using that as a parking lot, and that's actually a road. And they're parking past Walmart, kind of the dead end, and they've stacked up. I've literally myself counted 15 before. And even though Chase and their team have been out there on multiple occasions, and they ticket them now, they actually will ticket these people, they're still coming back. So there must be something out there in the truckers' realm where this is, on a page or they're talking to each other where it's a great place to spend the night, because they're actually spending the night there. They're not just leaving them there. There are people that are jumping off 75, they're pulling off there, and they're spending the night there. It's ugly, but it's unsafe at times. There was a side road that they were parking on. Now we have that posted. So they're not parking on that, but they're parking on Wiregrass Ranch Boulevard. When I drove by one day, I actually pulled up to one, because I saw him in there and just let him know kindly, sir, you can't park there and stuff. He had his clothes hung up in there, drying, and he was half clothed himself because he had just woken up.
Nice.
So, yeah, so my question is, no, obviously, the sheriff's office can continue to patrol. Can we post a sign up there ourselves on that portion of the road saying no parking? I mean, it literally is a road, even though it's a dead end, it's an actual road. And now people are dumping on the end of the road too. And when I say dumping, I have a feeling it's the people that are spending the night that are leaving their stuff there.
We'll have traffic ops look at it.
So long as we do a no parking resolution, you can designate it.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, and it's not the side of the road.
It's a road that's not parking allowed on it anyway.
Yeah, it's not the side of the road, it's actually the road.
It's in
Once
the
they
road,
get past
all
Walmart.
right.
It's a dead end now, so they're actually parking in the middle of the road.
Yeah, I think it's a collector artery. I can't remember
Yeah,
which
it's
one it
gonna
is.
connect, so that eventually will,
A
that
vision
portion of
map.
Wiregrass will
And
connect
it's-
once they build it
yeah.
through.
It looks like a parking lot right now, but I'm sure it's a road that no parking is
Yeah.
allowed, so it should be
There's
easy
no,
to sign.
there's no side of the road, it's literally the middle of the road.
Okay.
So if we could look at posting a sign there ourselves, because how many times has SOs had to go out there and ticket people? And I be honest with you, every time I drive by and I see them there, I call them.
Right.
That's it, thanks.
All right.
Me?
Kathy, you got one thing?
Maybe two. In your folders, you have copies of a letter to Mr. Tom Power and Congressman Bill Arax's office and some people in Marco Rubio's office. So I didn't think we needed to get board approval, but I'm being asked to get board approval for me and Jack to send a thank you for visiting with us. So I don't think I need board approval for
No, you
that.
don't need board approval for individual ones.
Okay.
Only if you want the chair to sign it.
All right, so, no, Jack and I are going to sign these, and you have a copy there? So we'll sign one,
Yep,
and
sign
we'll
mine.
send them off. I can't recall if I mentioned this to you, if we had a board meeting after we came back from Washington, did I mention to you about the press conference with Senator Rubio? So, we have a homeless mom with 3 kids who lived in Metropolitan Ministries in Hillsborough County, and after a year, yeah, so when I talked to Senator Rubio about this in Washington, he asked if we would delay the press conference so that he could be here. So we're going to do that press conference in May. We've invited the governor and Richard Corcoran and some others, so we think that could be turned into a really nice event. But they were so pleased and proud of us up in Washington with what we're doing, and it's a great story, and so was that gentleman today. I'm pretty sure they said that he's earning 6 figures in his job. They didn't mention it today, but that is just a huge success story, to go from homeless to that kind of earning. So, and I did go to Panama with Global Tampa Bay, and we had a record number of companies attend the trade mission, but again, we didn't have any Pasco County companies. And so I'm going to work on holding another one of those workshop days for people in our county so they can learn how and why to grow their business with a mind to export. Because 90% of their market is not here. It's outside of this country. And we just don't have enough companies that know how to take advantage of all their opportunities. So when we get that organized, I'll let you know how that goes. When that is.
Mr. Wells.
Thank you, and just for the record, he is making $45.67 an hour,
Yeah, it's great.
and 6 months ago, he was homeless.
And he has a couple college degrees, it
He
sounded
does.
like, so
He does.
something, yeah.
It's a great story. And the last meeting, I apologize, but I was sick. I just want to bring up, and I know it was on consent, and I know we approved it, and I spoke to Dan about it briefly, but I feel the clerk's audit, I reviewed it, there's a lot to it. I feel it's probably one of the most significant audits that we've seen as a board, and I just want to make sure we're as transparent as possible. So Dan, are you planning on bringing something to us publicly to discuss it and see what we've done to fix those opportunities? Okay. Okay. That's it? Okay, thank you.
Mr. Miles?
sorry, I was just writing a note to make sure that I don't forget what I just committed to do. I just have a couple things. One, today, earlier this morning, we were supposed to switch from the regular system to the P25 radio systems. So trying to get confirmation if it actually happened this morning, but if it didn't happen this morning, it will happen shortly. So that system that we've been working on for quite a while went live today.
For what?
Dan.
It's good?
It switched.
All right, so we are on the P25, that's the new radio network that we've been working on with the new towers and with
Oh,
the
really?
better coverage throughout the county. Both us,
All
Sheriff's
connected?
Office, we're all on it.
Yeah,
And it's
that's
live. So, just wanted to let you know that switch was flipped today. So,
Before the
yeah,
hurricane.
go ahead, Eric.
The big,
Anything else?
we've been on that system for about a month. What happened today is it went from open traffic to encryption, so a press release was done.
Right.
And in addition to better coverage, it has better building penetration for our first responders as they enter structures.
Right.
Good job.
The other thing is, we have a couple more award winners. There's a rodeo at, down in St. Pete, PSTA headquarters, and we had a couple employees win as part of the rodeo. For fixed route, we had Nicole Ritkers, make sure I pronounce that right, and then for paratransit, Lisa Ritkers. And so they will both be going up to Tallahassee, Jacksonville, sorry, next month to compete in the statewide competition for bus rodeo.
What
So
does that
just
mean, bus rodeo?
They drive buses.
What, around?
drive buses on a closed course.
They have to
and,
do
you know,
obstacle
you-
courses and things of that sort, so.
Yeah.
And they are a mother and daughter team, by the way.
Wow, I never knew that.
So we do have some outstanding employees. I like to let y'all know when they win stuff and do some good things. So
Yeah, that's great.
that's all I had, sir.
Okay. Mr. Steinsteiner?
I sent you all an email yesterday afternoon. We were before Judge Groger. The 4 bond issues were validated. We got final judgments on the 4 issues. No one appeared in opposition. The state attorney was, appeared by phone as their statutory duty. So now we have a 30-day appeal period, but really, since no one showed up, the only one who can appeal would be the state attorney's office, which I don't envision. And so then we can go forward and have, the team is working on issuing those bonds to pay for the various things that the board desired to have built.
That's great.
That's good.
So I figured I
That's
would
it?
bring that to your attention. Thank you very much. That's
Thank
it.
you.
I only thought of 2 more things.
What?
Yeah. I can't attend the TMA meeting on the next Friday. I was hoping someone else could fill in for me. I'm going to be in a class with IFAS in Dade City all day. I did check, it's not a real, there's not a lot happening on the agenda, but Jack, you may be on your own. And I don't remember who our 3rd person is at the TMA right now.
And I would go, but I've got canvassing board all day that day, so. But I think I might be, I'm not sure. I know I went one time when you guys couldn't make it.
So it's not the day that I think we're voting on how we're going to vote, but I just was hoping someone else could go. And then the second thing is, a lot of people had asked me, and Commissioner Wells, this is in your district, about providing some kind of safety net for people who are crossing Starkey Boulevard at Marcia Drive to get to our market. And I am there, and I am watching the kids running back and forth across the street. The challenge at that intersection, it's not, it's a T intersection, is that it's right where the merge is when you're going north. So cars are speeding up at an intersection to get around a slower car, and there was an accident there this week. Thank goodness it didn't involve any pedestrians. I don't know how hurt anybody was, but I think we need to, I know traffic ops went out there and we were a few numbers short of the amount of people crossing that lets you put, I'm talking about painting crosswalks, which allows some security for a pedestrian in Florida. But I believe we need to do something at that intersection because we have pretty much an acceleration lane at a T intersection. And I don't think that's a good idea.
That's it? Okay. Madam Clerk?
Yes, just real quick, we had a community event where we had Passport Day on Saturday, March 16th. It was very successful. I wanted to thank the county for helping us to arrange to open up our doors, and also thanking Debbie Gay, who is our Director of Records, and her team. Within 4 hours, they processed over 160 passport applications. And we did it the Saturday before spring break because usually spring break is the time where parents take off of work, they bring their kids in, and we processed more than half within that 4 hours than what we do for that entire week for spring break. And spring break's our largest week. So thank you to the county, thank you to our awesome team. It was a great success. We'll probably be doing it next year.
Well, good.
Well done.
Okay. All right. Anybody got anything else? I don't have anything today other than the fact that I'm very appreciative of all the county staff and commissioners always working together, and things are moving smoothly. So let's keep up that kind of work and get a lot done. We got a lot happening in this Pasco County's moving toward being a premier county. So it's great. So thank you. With that, we adjourn.